Yes, I suppose similar to ourselves in that we lost to SARS. I suppose a different time of the round robin section. They lost their first game. Well, I was personally at the match against McKilly, and I suppose in fact, I would say that the semi-final was a replica of it. They just stuck in at it. They were 5 points, 2 down. They felt that was a good. They hadn't a high-scoring SARS team against them. I'm sure they'll be happy if they can keep us the scores down, but it's up to us to manage the game, and look at our expectations. But no, you'd never be surprised with the Glen being in the final. They're probably the highest appearances in the finals. It's the third final in a row, I believe, so couldn't be surprised.
Welcome back to Páirc Uí Chaoimh as the 1995 na Piarsaigh team are being awarded and presented to us on the field. And I'm delighted to say that Mark and Jar hang on to us for the moment for this Premier Senior Hurling Final. Lads, let's get this preview underway. Jar, I'm going to start with you because we'll be going down to the sideline shortly. An interesting final ahead.
Yeah, all ingredients for a great final, Patrick. Both teams were very impressive in the semi-finals. Obviously, we started with Middleton, who, put on a fantastic performance. I suppose their best so far this year, and they'll probably have to produce something similar to win today. But it was a really impressive all-round performance, and to give them great confidence going in today. They're up against a formidable team in Glen Rovers who've been, they know this day inside out. This is their third final in a row, so they'll be out to atone for the last 2 years if possible, but to make sure that they're going to win today. So all the ingredients, I think the Glen will be looking for a tight game. Middleton are kind of a free-flowing, fast team in the style of Ben O'Connor. So all the ingredients should be a great game. We'll be hoping for a great game of hurling to finish off the year. It's been a great year of hurling. So just looking forward from a neutral point of view to a great game of hurling.
A stat I made up during the week, I think it's 27 goals, 1,000 and something like 52 points scored in championship already. Like, this has been a revolutionary championship from a Cork point of view, what we've seen across all 9 grades of hurling in football this year, Mark. But I suppose we saw it in the Senior A final, how competitive it was. And again, in this final, it's going to be really competitive again.
We're expecting a really competitive final, Patrick. Both teams are here on merit, and as Josh said, both teams are outstanding in the semi-final as well. It's great credit due to the county board. They take an awful lot of stick along the way. There was 4 matches played in Cork yesterday. The junior county, 2 intermediate finals. They were all decided yesterday. And then there was a semi-final. Castlelyons beat Ballinasig by a point as well. And 2 county finals today. So that takes a huge amount of organisation. But across the board, you'd have to say that the standards are rising. It will take time, and we saw the level that Cork have got to get to with the All-Ireland final last year and the performance out of Limerick. So I said it 2 years ago that it would take us a decade to get back to the level. I hope it won't be that long, and I'm really enthused with the fact that our minors and our 220 winning teams were presented as well here today. But the most important thing is that those lads are minded now. There's 50 players there that were good enough to bring back All-Ireland medals to Cork this year. Those, like what Limerick done with the Cian Lynches, the Sean Finns, that era of kids they'll beat in a minor final but 121 the following year. We need to take a leaf out of that Limerick book now to mind those young fellas and bring them forward to senior. And we certainly have the talent in the county to be winning All-Ireland senior medals, but I think it starts with club, Patrick, and that's why the revolutionary decisions that Kevin O'Donovan in the main has made to bring in the group formats has been huge, I think, for club hurling. And relegation again, that's a big thing as well. Relegation or promotion, because that ultimately decides what level you should be at. And there's no hard luck stories if you're relegated, because you're more than likely to be beaten in probably 4 matches during the course of the season.
Great to see the Barrack Street Band on shot as well in front of us. Ger Cunningham, let's start off with some of these matchups, because there's some big matchups across the field.
Yeah, there is on both sides. Obviously interesting, I suppose, looking at it from a Glen point of view. You have to start that with Patrick Horgan inside full forward. Looking at Middleton, what will they do? Will they change around their team? Will they put Sean O'Leary Hayes in full back? Put Luke Deneen, who's been their solid full back all through the year. Will they move him? Tommy O'Connell at centre back is going to come up against different play. Mark Dooley is he wing forward, Mark centre forward?
Yeah, Luke Hogan. It could be a variety of
Good
players.
variety of players. But there's some injury matchups again on the other side. Stephen McDonald inside there, marking Cormac Bozang, who's been really impressive for Middleton this year. What they do with Conor Lehan, will they leave Brian Wyle and stick on Conor Lehan? Will they put Rob Downey across at him? Interesting matchups there that we'll see at the start of the game. But as you said, there's some great battles there. There's great battles all over the pitch, I suppose. Looking midfield, some of the young fellas coming through, as Mark said, Sam Quirk coming through, Owen Downey coming through as well. Great to see them playing in the county finals today. Great to see the crowds back in compared to last year. We can't see the stand underneath us, but they say that it's fairly full. We look across at the north stand, 80%, 90% full as well. So it's a great day, as Mark said, for Cork Hurling, for these two teams especially, have coming through their group stages, came through their pathways. Two best teams are in the final, and looking forward to a great game.
Sure are indeed. We'll be going through the teams very, very shortly. I suppose, Mark, both forwards are going to have a big bearing in this game, and the way both teams are going to play, as in how much space they're going to leave inside the full forward lines.
Yeah, well, look, it's well documented. Look, at Patrick Horgan is probably the best forward in Cork at this moment in time, and has been for probably the last decade. He's an outstanding player. If he gets fed enough ball, enough correct ball, he will convert it, and it is a big ask out of Middleton as to who's going to mark him. Will they leave Luke Deneen, the number 3 who's named on the programme, or will they move Sean O'Leary Hayes in there? That's the biggest decision there. On the Middleton side, I suppose Conor Lehan, his form has been pretty good coming into the final, but he needs to produce another performance like he produced in the semi-final, Patrick, because he was outstanding then. But I suppose Cormac Bozang and Luke Farrell have been outstanding as well this year. Cormac Bozang is scoring at will, and Luke Farrell gets through a huge amount of possession, but probably needs to convert more of the opportunities that he gets. So for me, I think Middleton have 3 really good scoring forwards at this moment in time, and if they get enough possession into that full forward line, I think they could do an awful lot of damage. But I also think that the Glen backs are slightly stronger in the overall context. I have a feeling that the Glen backs are stronger than the Midland backs. I think Owen Downey, Rob Downey and Brian Moylan have been outstanding all year, the 3 of them in particular. And if there was probably a player of the year at the moment, I think Rob Downey would be getting it. So, in the overall context, I think, Patrick, we've a great final ahead, and you just have to wait and see how it will develop. And I suppose the one person that we need to mention is Mark Maher as the referee as well. It's a big game for Mark as well. And Nathan Walsh had a huge influence in the first game. He kept the game going, left the momentum build. And you know how I described it as it was a county final. There was a fair bit of hard hitting, hard tackling in the county final. And I hope that Mark Maher will give a good performance as well. I've no doubt he will. But again, let's hope that the game will flow.
Okay, it's time for me to move out of the seat, because new commentary team coming in for this Cork Co-op Superstores Cork Premier Senior Hurling Championship Final for 2021. The commentary team of Shawnee McGrath, Mark Lanners, and they're being led by, this afternoon, Colm O'Connor.
Thank you very much, as always, Patrick, for your assistance, and great job on calling an exciting opening game here this afternoon. Well, Shawnee, we had plenty of fiery incidents down there in the opening game. We've heard so much about the joy, the spectacle that is Cork All-Ireland. I'll tell you, there is some buzz here this afternoon, isn't there?
Yeah, it's been, we've been out here since about 12 o'clock, Colm, and the atmosphere has been building since. So with the first game thrown in at 1 o'clock, it really whet the appetite. As a game, as a spectacle, the hurling was crisp. It was very, very good, and the touch and the control and the scores were of the highest calibre, I suppose. And in fairness, it went right down to the wire. I think Kanturk were probably deserved winners and just about got there. But I mentioned in the commentary earlier, in fairness to Father O'Neill's, with 2 huge players missing for the bulk of the year, and Ger Millerick did his best when he came on, but the injury obviously took its toll. In fairness, there's great credit due to the club to get to the final and to compete so well. But for this one, yeah, the atmosphere is brilliant. I just, from sideline moving up through, met a couple of the pals and all that from the Glen on the way up, and there's great enthusiasm, there's great interest, obviously, and there's nerves there. There's everything you get with a championship game, the interest, as I said, the nerves and all that combined. So Here's hoping we'll get a great contest. It's cold down pitch side, Colin, and I think the wind has actually picked up as well. I mentioned that as well in the second half. I noticed the wind was that bit stronger in the Senior A final. Will that have a bearing? Who knows? Maybe with the free takers, it'll be a bit challenging. But here's hoping we get a great contest.
Just on that point there, Mark, Shawnee's talking about nerves. Just looking through the teams, a number of the Glen side, a 7th county final. For some of the Middleton lads, this is the first appearance ever. And you've got, like in goal, Breen Thompson, he's only 18 years of age. You've got a wing back, should I say, in Kiervak Smith. He's 17. He's going to school. He's in secondary school. He's playing Harty Cup. Like, how much of a factor is that on a day like today?
Yeah, it is a factor, but I suppose you'd have to say that an awful lot of the Midland lads have played an awful lot of underage and they have a lot of success, but a senior final takes on a life of its own, there's no doubt about it. And just, you mentioned Brian Sanderson, he's in goals there. And just a shout out for Tommy Wallace, who's out farming in Australia, I think. For a couple of years, he'd probably be the goalkeeper if he was at home. And just to say hello to him, same as I suppose your old buddy John Fitzgibbon, Shawnee. I think Kieran is home from the States for the county final. You know, fantastic to see that kind of commitment from people. But, you know, I suppose the live streaming is a big thing, Colin, as well. Like, you know, we're hitting people all over the country here today, obviously particularly in Cork. But there are people that are out farmed. I can't be here today, and I think this is magnificent that the live streaming is free to them to be able to watch it. So wherever you are, this is our little All Ireland here in Cork, and we're very, very proud of it. And we have two, you know, real kingpins of hurling playing here today, and there's a massive crowd. And fair play to the county board as well. I think €20 is a fair amount. It's not, you know, it is financially viable for people to come here today, I think, you know, because like most people are bringing the kids to see their local heroes playing and stuff like that. So I think just everything has gone tip-top, Column, and it's just brilliant to be here because just remember, it's only a short time ago that we weren't allowed to go to matches. We didn't witness last year's county final between the Glen and Blackrock, which was a cracker of a game. And I'm delighted that the people have voted with their feet here today. And there's a huge crowd here in Páirc Uí Chaoimh today.
Teams in formation for the parade. Shawnee, I can remember back to your days in Cork colours. You always looked to be the most relaxed man ever in a parade. I'm not sure about you, Mark, but what's it like out there?
It's nerve-wracking, Colin. There's no question or doubt about it. And you know, you asked Mark the question about kind of young lads and all that. Sometimes it's easier when you're younger. I mean, when you go through both sets of teams, both panels, if Conor Doris comes on today, he could play his 60th championship game for the Glen. I think Patrick Horgan is playing his 81st or his 82nd. Dean Brosnan is probably on his 58. And on the Middleton side, you know, Luke Farrell is on 55 or 56, and Conor Lehan is getting close to 50. So while there's youth and there's fellas that maybe only playing their second and third championship game, by God, there's plenty of experience there as well. And I can tell you, the lads that are on 50-plus championship games are every bit as nervous now today as they are, I'd say, on their first game. And I think as you get older as well, Colm, you know, I mean, the seeds of doubt maybe start planting a bit more in the injury in your calf and your hamstring that might be tweaked a bit. You start overthinking it maybe a little bit. And I often read columns about, you know, famous players in all code, soccer and all other games, rugby. They often said that the earlier games in your career were the best and the easiest. So, look, nerves are part and parcel, and it's just who can handle that occasion best and maybe handle the nerves. But, you know, after the first couple of minutes, when you get your first 2 or 3 touches, you're into the fray of it, and you'll be hoping that the nerves and that will dissipate.
Okay, I suppose, is it too simplistic to say 2 names that we just need to keep an eye out for and that are going to dictate an awful lot of what happens this afternoon? Patrick Horgan and Conor Lehan?
Yeah, it possibly is. I think Hoggy, you know, to be fair to him, has been outstanding. Connor's form would need to be as good as what it is. He was brilliant in the semi-final, and he needs to produce that performance for Middleton, I think, to win today. The last time they won it, he scored, I think, 3-10, you know, and a lot of that from play. He was absolutely majestic. But I think there's more to Middleton, to be fair. I do think that the aforementioned Luke O'Farrell and Cormac Wuzang have had fierce form as well this year. And then Tommy O'Connell and Sam Kirk, for me, they are 2 outstanding prospects from a Cork perspective. They've been really, really good. Tommy O'Connell in particular was outstanding against the Glen, you know, against the Rockies in the semi-final. But I think overall, Colm, you know, county finals of a strange way. There's some player out of the blue can have one of those fantastic games, and we just have to wait and see how it'll play out.
Okay, time now for the Barrack Street Band and Oran Naveen. Wow, you can feel the atmosphere up here. It's one of the few things we can feel in the cold, though.
It's freezing, like it is freezing. There's some people that are, what, it is freezing here, even though there's a lovely sun and the pitch is in great order, but it's actually very, very cold.
I don't think there'll be too many people having sympathy for us, though, this afternoon up here on county final day, and we're off and running. Our match referee is Mark Maher this afternoon. First county final for the man from the bars, and as Mark pointed out, it'll be interesting to see what sort of approach he will take. Nathan taking a free-flowing approach in that opening game, and the match all the better for us.
Yeah, and the big thing is that Patrick Horgan obviously named as centre forward, has gone in full forward, and he's been picked up by Luke Deneen in a two-man. Simon McKenniff is inside there as well, will be marked by Owen Maloney.
So there'll be switches aplenty as this game gets underway, and a shot at nothing, and an early easy first touch for Brian Saunderson, the young man. He's only 18 years of age, has impressed hugely in this championship, but poor clearance on that side, and it's been returned with interest from distance, but dropping right into the goalkeeper's hands yet again, and a nice pass out by him out as far as Paul Hockney. First time down, but it's taken up with the spare man now down in that corner there for Blackrock, but Middleton is still having possession out with the aforementioned Conor Lehane, and Lehane off his left from 65 yards, and the opening score of the afternoon.
Brilliant score, and yeah, great score from Conor. I'll get him into the game early. And just back to Mark's point as regards Patrick Horgan's positioning, is noteworthy as well that Ben hasn't gone with an extra man back. He's going man on man. That seems to be very much his tactic. We played Charleville when he was involved with them 2 years ago, and he did the same. He had Alan Dennehy on Patrick, and he just left it as is. So interesting. A lot of fellas will play a man in front of him just to cut out the through ball in, and it's interesting that's just going to be man on man approach.
And the opening score of the afternoon going the way of Middleton. Top of each other here, Glenn trying to forage something out here around the centre of the field, all a bit messy, and touch on the ground, and it's going to be a free, the opening free of the afternoon, and Conor Lehane standing over it, and a second opportunity for him to add to his tally with the opening point after about 2 minutes.
And like, if he converts the opportunity, Colm, it'll be just a start that Middleton would want. A young team, hadn't been in a county final in 2018 and 13 before that. So, you know, Glen are playing in their third county final, having previously lost the two, and there'll be a lot of pressure on the Glen as well, not to lose 3 finals in a row.
And Conor Lehane is after nailing that, of course. No stranger to big scores in county final day. 210 he posted back in 2013, but the radar very, very much in with the talismanic wing forward for Middleton. Ahal Hickey, one of those men that we mentioned, playing in a 7th county final this afternoon. Fine ball down by him to pick out his wing forward down there. It's the Glen going backwards and being dropped in and around the danger zone. Luke Deneen is under that one. They're working it out here, or trying to work it out here with the wing back Cormac Walsh. He's lost it. Tommy O'Connell coming in to assist, and it's after being touched out off Patrick Horgan, I think, in the end. and get out for the first sideline of the game.
Just back to the puck out column, I think that's probably what Mark Dooley is in for. I mean, he was a huge loss the last day. Calvin Healy deputised well and had a good game, but Marky Early is very, very strong, and while the hand, is just back, I think. He had a bad injury on the hand against Demo Kelly. His ability to win the aerial ball is huge, and it gives Cathal Hickey a great opportunity from puckouts to find him.
Cormac Walsh didn't get a good clearance on that one. It's Dean Brosnan working back all the way back. Adam Lynch has gone back to his other corner to Dooling. There's a chance opening up here for Mark Dooley, gone backwards, and the shot, the opening effort from Glen Rovers' perspective, and gone wide.
Yeah, you're disappointed with that. A very, very good ball into Simon Kennefic, closely marked by Owen Maloney. The ball was funneled back out to Dooley, and he'd be disappointed not to have converted it.
Kind of a little bit messy, bit nervous in these opening exchanges. That's Paul Hockney chasing after theirs, Kiervis Knecht. Eventually being foraged out by Luke Deneen, and there's a foot race on there. Should be Stephen McDonald is going to get out there, and McDonald to look to get a bit of a push in the back, I think, as he was going out to that one. It's going to be a sideline anyway.
Yeah, in fairness to Middleton defence, they've started well. That's probably where Ben has done most of the repairs, I suppose. Like, he's got Luke Deneen in from last year's team, Kieran Smith, and he's brought Tommy O'Connell and Cormac Walsh back from the forward. So he's done huge repair work on his defence, and they've started well.
And sideline actually going the way of Middleton, and the point going the way of Middleton. 3 points in the opening 4.5 minutes, and Middleton very much in the ascendancy in these opening exchanges.
Yeah, and like we saw in the Senior A final previously, Kanturk started like a bat out of hell, 1-3 to no score after 6 minutes, and Middleton is starting something similar here.
Callahan trying to work his way onto it, but it's breaking away from him. And it's certainly going to be a free for a heavy tackle on the in-rushing Glenman. And you'd expect Patrick Horgan to make the trip out for this one.
It's interesting now against the wind, I suppose. I was interested to see how Connor would hit the free with the wind at times in that first half. Father O'Neill struggled with that swirling wind, so it'll be interesting now to see how Patrick does here against a reasonably strong breeze.
As we said down pitch side in the opening half, there is quite a strong breeze all right down there. Horgan shot unerring, as you would expect, and the opening score of the afternoon for Glen Rovers being greeted with a loud cheer. 6 minutes gone. Ball finding its way all the way towards Rob Downey. He's returned it with interest in around the edge of the square. There's a foot race on with the goalkeeper coming out far out to try on to Mark Dooley, and Dooley's, after taking an effort, has driven it wide.
Yeah, and the Middleton puck out isn't going exactly to plan, Colm. Like the same as the last day, they all bunch and break from centre forward, and in fairness to the midfield and half back line for the Glen, they're reading it well, and they've won the last couple of puck outs from Breen Saunderson's.
Conor trying to bring it up, not coming up for him. Downey on top of it. It's a broken free again, so Conor Lehane has a bit of space in front of him, and Lehane from 60 yards. Lehane, has he got it? Yes, he has. Yeah. That's his third point of the afternoon.
Yeah, and a breaking ball, a ball that would fail to come up first time, and whatever rucker the ball went into, it just kicked out and went into his pat. He's picked it and struck it. A really lively start from Conor Lehane.
Cathal Hickey with the puck out in the Co-op Superstores Cork Premier Senior Hurling Championship final, being brought to you in association with the Co-op Superstores, the sponsors of the championship. Great hook there to deny from Luke Horgan. But Paul Hockney's after recycling it. Hockney having an effort, not looking on and driving it wide. But is it a sluggish Glen start, Shawnee, or is the Ben O'Connor game plan working?
I think it's a mix of both. I think the game in general is kind of sluggish, to be honest, Colm. I don't think Middleton are shooting the lights out either, albeit they're 4-1 up. It's just the game hasn't really taken off yet. Maybe it needs an incident or a flashy goal or something to spark it to life. I'm not condoning anything now, mind you.
Well, I think Middleton want to keep the ball, Shawnee, moving as fast as possible, I would suggest, Was the Glen will probably want to maybe slow it down slightly?
I think so, Mark. And we did Glenn winning games, you know, by scoring 115 and 116 simply because the defence is so good and tough and tight. So you're right, they want a quick, expansive, open game. Middleton do, without doubt.
Paul Hockney getting on quite a lot of ball. That was him there taking the delivery from Rob Downey. It's Sean O'Mara in the corner. A lot of pushing and pulling. It's as we said, it's kind of struggling to get momentum going here this afternoon in these opening exchanges, but that's not going to count a jot to Middleton when you're producing a score like that out of nothing,
It's
Mark.
a fantastic score now, and you know, there was a lot of pressure on, particularly on the shot, but even in the build-up play to it as well, and a magnificent score. I think Midland have had 5 shots at goal. I think it was Sean O'Mara, I think, who got it, and that's a shot in the arm now for Midland.
And Mark, his third possession, he could be one of those players you mentioned earlier, it's early doors, but one of those players coming from nowhere. That's his third possession already.
And we were questioning whether the nervousness of a first county final was going to affect some of these Middleton players. That's Tommy O'Connell, the man in 21, having a shot driving it wide. He's a student in UCC. Of course, his underage experience with Cork as well, as have quite a number of the players on show here this afternoon. Eventually, Glenn winning some clean possession at midfield, but losing it again. That was Dean Brosnan who lost it. It's walked off in there towards the corner forward. Trying to barrel his way through. This will be Luke Horgan, and is brought down. And it's going to be a free end to Glen Rovers, and no doubt Patrick Horgan is going to stroll over and take this one.
And just prior to that, Colin, I was just going to reference how well the Middleton half-back line were doing. But in fairness, I know stalwart of ours, Dean Brosnan, came up and won a fantastic puck out cleanly from the air and ended up kind of dispossessing it then from the Middleton half-back, and ended up going to the Glenford forward line. But Dean has been a great stalwart, and while it was probably only his first possession, it was a very important one.
Yeah, and a very important score from Patrick Horgan, slotting that one over. 5 points to 2 with 10 minutes elapsed. Water break coming up in about 5 minutes time. We've got TJ Ryan down with Ger and Patrick for the sideline reporting duties this afternoon in the second game. Shot coming off there, but referee spotting a late pull, and it's going to be a free, and it looks to be Paul Hockney is the man that's going to be going into the book for that.
Yeah, Brian Moylan had won a very good ball and was coming forward, and it looked at Paul, went out to, I suppose, dispossess him, but he used his hurling. He seems to have broken the hurling in the clash. Mark Maher's going to put him into the book for it.
Brian Moylan showing no ill effects, it must be said. He's strolled back into his wing-back position, scored a couple of hugely important long-range points against Immakilly. And yeah, first yellow card of the afternoon is going to the Middleton midfielder, Paul Hockney.
I don't think Patrick will be in any rush to take the free either. Whatever bit of a breeze is there, it seems to be favouring, I think, Middleton possibly in the first half.
So Patrick Horgan standing about 10 yards beyond midfield. Huge strike of a ball. And a huge cheer from the Glen Rovers fans.
Great score, and exactly what they need, Colin, because I don't think the Glen are playing particularly well. So far, you would say it's kind of all Middleton. So to be tipping over and getting those valuable frees, that's a huge score for Glen.
Lupton in under a bit of pressure there, but eventually Middleton clearing it down. But there's about 3 Glen men under it. Rob Downey was one of those. It's gone back to the goalkeeper, Conal Hickey. Spacing it out, he was looking for Downey. Moylan was there as well. And Downey going a fantastic ball all the way down from him in towards his wing forward, Luke Horgan. And Horgan should have done better.
Yeah, poor wide. I mean, Luke will have been very happy with the space he created. A great delivery from Rob Downey, a great clearance. But yeah, Luke probably should have steadied himself and scored, so he'll be disappointed with that.
Great play by Conor Lahan to keep the ball in play there right along the sideline, but it's the Glen who've won it back with Pa White. Pa White making a bit of space for himself, but just the angle letting him down.
but huge work yet again by Conor Lahan to keep that ball in play.
I think he'll be disappointed that, you know, he had Conor on his left-hand shoulder. He could have just popped it. Conor had nobody on him, and probably the incorrect decision to go for his own score. He would have been better off to pass to Lahan.
Conor Hickey, powerful puck out. That bit of a breeze admittedly behind him, but still, it's found its way to Sam Quirk. Connection, he's Dan Cormack, who was playing back when Middleton defeated the Glen all of 30 years ago. And a shot coming in there, shot trailing off wide.
But the bad wides, like this is a county final. They're poor wides now in anyone's estimation, and like they just need to settle up a small bit because they have plenty of possession. But that's their fourth wide. But those particular two shots should have been over the bar.
How costly or otherwise will those prove to be later this afternoon at about 4:20? So that's Kiervac Smith, 17 years of age, playing Harty Cup with Middleton CBS, and now playing in a county final here in Páirc Uí Chaoimh. Rob Downey hoovering it all up there, cleaning up as you'd expect of a man of his calibre. Great ball, eventually finding its way in towards midfielder Adam O'Donovan. It's half blocked down. Kiervac Smith is back on it again. Plays it nice and short. That's a wonderful piece of hurling there to pick out Pa White. Had that bad miss a few moments ago, has shaken off that one and has put that over from 60 yards.
Great score from Pat. We saw the last game as well, Colm, the goal he got against Blackrock. And Dave Noonan just maybe misplaced something there. His touch was off a little bit, and I didn't mention it before the game, but I think that midfield duo of Sam Quirk and Paul Hockney versus Adam O'Donovan and Dave Noonan could have a huge bearing yet. Like Dave and Adam aren't high scorers. Hockney and Sam Quirk have scored probably 11 or 12 points today in the championship, so I do think that midfield sector is going to have a huge bearing yet in this game.
Goalkeeper going right down the centre with his puck out on this occasion. Paul Hockney with the yellow helmet and the yellow card was there to collect it. The delivery down in towards the corner though had overrun and gone out for a sideline. Well marshalled there by the cornerback for the Glen down there. I think it was Adam Lynch eventually that was standing over it. Gone out. Pa White is back on it, trying to funnel it back towards Conor Lahan. Instead it's his centre forward, I think Ross O'Regan, that's going to have a pop. Ross O'Regan has had a pop, as he was.
Great score.
And the funny thing is that 5 of the 6 Midland forwards have scored so far, and their forward that's really on form all year. Cormac Buzang is the only fellow who hasn't scored yet, but there's no ball has gone into him yet. There's no trial of him yet.
And even if he had a bad wide, Mark, you could see his touch was razor sharp earlier, so I think it's only a matter of time, but it's an interesting stat.
Yeah, as we're coming up on the first water break of the game, it's Middleton who lead 7 points to 3 against Glen Rovers, and Cormac Walsh, the wing back, racing down towards Conor Lahan. This is great offloading, hurling. Ross O'Regan having another pop, and Ross O'Regan having another score back to back in as many minutes.
Great interplay between the Midland players, and Vincent Lahan looked like he was going to have a pop. Saw Ross O'Regan, made the right decision, popped the ball to the man in the better position, and he made no mistake in front of the goals.
And I think a lot of people in Middleton would have been questioning Cormac Walsh's positioning in the backs this year, Mark, when he'd been so good over the last number of years in the forwards, but he's had a fantastic year, and as you said, a great run and a great offload and a brilliant score in the end.
Been struggling to gain a foothold in these opening exchanges, but really no need to panic, or is there? As there's a chance opening up there with the corner forward Luke O'Farrell. O'Farrell being pulled back, the shot eventually coming off, and it's going to be pulled back anyway for the free, but for a second there, danger here.
Yeah, the Glen just don't seem to have gotten it right yet with their puck outs. I mentioned Mark Dooley earlier, they're kind of mixing between short and long stuff, and they're just not getting it right, and the Middleton sort of midfield and half-backs are dominant to date, and Luke had a goal chance on his mind there, or he had a goal in mind, say. The ref had signalled earlier that he was going to give the free, but yeah, the Glen are just hanging in there a little bit.
But also good play by Mark Mayer, Shawnee, because he allowed the game to develop. He gave him the opportunity that if the goal scoring opportunity did present himself, he was going to give it to him.
Conor Lahan doing what Conor Lahan does best, straight in front of the goals, and has pushed it out to 9 points to 3 with our first water break, and it's time for us to head down pit side to join our commentary team who are down there: Patrick Mulcahy, TJ Ryan, and Ger Cunningham.
Down from pit side here, lads, it's a different game from watching it above. Really impressed with Middleton in the first half. They started the game really well. They've scored 9 points in the first half. I think they've got 7 from play, and it's just their energy around the pitch. They've really started really well. They're sharp. They're They're looking really sharp today. On the other side, to myself and TJ were just saying they're struggling to get into the game. The puck outs, as Shawnee said, they're going up to the half-hour line. Kyle Hickey likes to go long for a lot of the puck outs, but they're struggling to get the ball into the full forward line. I don't think Patrick Horgan has got a ball from play yet.
Yeah, spot on, Ger. Let's see the effect of the water break here. The Glen will definitely be crying out for it, struggling all over the field, can't get their hands on the ball. Middleton completely on top. I agree with Shawnee, their half-back line, beautiful platform, nice ball going in. 5 forwards scoring from play already. They'll be delighted with that. And the other thing is their key players playing well. Lahan especially, 2 from play, 2 from freeze. They'll be delighted with that.
Yeah, absolutely. So great start again. So we'll put you hand you back up to the commentary team for the second quarter.
And thanks as always to Ger and TJ down there pit side, and we'll be rejoining them for the second half. You go along with those few points. That half back line of Middleton have been hugely impressive, haven't
Yeah,
they?
they're very good now, in fairness. You know, Shawnee mentioned about Cormac Walsh. He's been a forward all his life. He's gone back, and he has a bit of toe, which is the most important thing. But Tommy and Tommy O'Connell centre back has been a revelation all year, and Sean O'Leary Hayes and himself and Dooley, they're having a great battle over in the far wing.
So second quarter underway after the water break, and let's see, will it be a momentum maker or a momentum killer from a Middleton perspective? Can the Glen funnel something back after that little suspiog? Well, they need to get on the ball, and that's what they're doing there now at the moment. And we're shot into space, and there's a foot race out to it, right out towards the corner. Shot in there towards Simon Kennefick. They got it off, and the shot eventually from Patrick Horgan, and gone over the bar. Kennefick showed some pace on his way rushing out for that one.
Exactly, and that's exactly what the Glen need to do. They need to get busier around midfield. Adam O'Donovan with a snappy shot. He didn't even look up, but when you put a ball outside and they're going man on man, it means there's not a spare man. So it's a foot race, as you said yourself there, and Kennefick has ferocious pace. And in fairness, that's the one thing Simon has worked on in his game, not just shooting aimlessly from corner flag job. He gave a brilliant ball across, and a bit like Cormac Bazang's touch earlier, Patrick's touch was razor sharp and a great score. But for the Glen to get back into the game now, they just need to get busier around midfield and pepper that ball into the Glen full forward line.
And possibly the half-back line, Shawnee, which has been their launching pad all year. Brian Moylan and the 2 Downies, they're actually struggling at the moment with the middle and half-forward line as well. Lahan, Ross O'Regan and Sean O'Mara are really busy and have put the scores on the board as well.
Yeah.
Fine ball by Brian Saunderson to pick out Conor Lahan. That's a wonderful puck out, and that is a wonderful shot by the wing forward Conor Lahan. We talked about him in the pre-match. Well,
His form is carrying his semi-final form through to the final now. 5 points, 3 from play. A magnificent start in the first 20 minutes for Conor.
so big gut check now for Glen, because every time they manage to get some bit of a foothold, Middleton come back down and negate it again. Brian Moylan got in there towards the corner. It's Dean Brosnan, I think, that's chasing in after that. He's opting to go all the way back, and the shot eventually coming in from distance, but dropping into the goalkeeper's arms. That was a poor attempt in the end. Cormac Walsh. Ball sticking just inside the sideline, but there's a heavy shoulder out, and it's Adam Lynch who gets the shoulder from Cormac Bozang, and the referee deeming it is a sideline, and it's going to be a Middleton ball down there.
You know, Colm, just into half time, I'd be tempted maybe to bring Patrick out for a little bit, just to try and break that Middleton half back line and try and get a bit more busyness into the half forward line from a Glen's perspective.
Cormac Bozang's ball sitting around 14 yards out. And it's going to be a free out, and it's going to be Kyle Hickey who's going to come out and take that one. Mark, I think you're suffering from a mild hypothermia, are you, at this stage? You're shivering here alongside me.
We got the brand of vest today.
Okay, well, hopefully what's going to come over the next while is going to warm things up on that far side. It's Glen Rovers attacking. Looks to be Owen Down. He's taken through 2 tackles, bursting through, loses the ball, picking it back up again, trying to get a shot off in the end. Has he got a point? He has got a point. That's wonderful play there by Glen Rovers. considering the pressure that they were under to produce that one.
Fantastic score from Downey. Made a 50-yard run, had lost the ball, offloaded, but got it back and did really, really well to put the ball over the bar. A badly needed score for the Glen.
Hugely badly needed. Now it's gone with Pa White down there. Pa White on the 14-yard line. Pa White with the shot. Oh, great block by the full back there to pull it away, and great clearance in the end by Adam O'Donovan, pumping it down. White has some acceleration on him.
He should have parted. Sean O'Mara, I think, was, but he should have parted. There was a loose man inside. It would have been a great result for Midland to get a goal.
And that's a super effort, is it? No, it isn't. Patrick Horgan for a second there. It looked like he'd flipped it over his shoulder, but not happy with the destination, and drives wide.
Sorry, Colin. It's the one thing that the Glen can't afford to do now is concede a goal at this stage, because Midland are certainly in the driving seat. They're doing all the hurling at the moment, and a goal would be a huge score in this game.
Big Downey yet again out as far as Dean Brosnan. Dean working it right in towards the corner. Mark Dooley coming out for it, but great play by the cornerback down there. That's Owen Maloney.
He's put more pace in it, Dean, though. Like, there's a lofty kind of a ball. Lash it in.
That's the advice from Shawnee there. Luke O'Farrell gone back to bring in Pa White, and Pa White from 40 odd yards. This man's on fire today.
Yeah, he was good the last day. In fairness, he got a brilliant goal. He won a ball out around midfield, ran at the Blackrock defence and scored a great goal, and gave a pass earlier as well in the game to Cormac Bazang. And today he started brightly. I think that's his second, yeah?
Colin Hickey. Good ball yet again, but yet again there's seems to be like a swarm of Middleton players, like black and white bees. Ross O'Regan from the sideline. He's not going to manage that. He's proven me wrong, and he has.
Well, when you're on song, pair-wise, Ross O'Regan, 5 points between them. You'll be quite happy after 23 minutes on the scoreboard to think that you 5 points from those two lads. That's fantastic from both of them.
Wonderful interplay between that half-forward line as well, too. And there's a bang there on Dean Brosnan. I think was the wing-back Cormac Walsh that connected with him. He's gone to ground. Nothing sinister with it. I think it just caught him a little late.
Yeah, while they're checking him, I think that's a fierce interesting point from Mark, because like if you look at Ross O'Regan, Pa White and Sean O'Mara, they'd remind you sort of say Luke Horgan, maybe Mark Dooley and Liam Call from the Glen. They're not heavy scorers. You'll expect to get Lehan to get 3 or 4, Hoggy to get 3 or 4. If that trio versus the Glen trio, say, chip in with the 3 or 4, they could be the deciding scores as well. And Mark is right, in this first half, Middleton have got more from those 3.
6 points.
Versus the Glen, where there's no return.
That's a massive return, and I suppose we would have mentioned Conor Lehan, Luke Farrell and Cormac Bazang as the 3 Middleton forwards that will be doing an awful lot of the scoring, and up pop the other 3 boys who have 6 points in play in the first. Hey, we want to get a bit of the action. Is probably what that's
Absolutely, yeah, great return.
The resultant free from that foul on Dean Brosnan, converted by Patrick Horgan, and all importantly as well that Dean is back on his feet and back into his wing forward. Bert, that's a wonderful piece of fielding by Lehan. He's here, there and everywhere, isn't he? Sam Quirk, he's going to go back and bring Lehan back into play. Lehan from just outside halfway.
Yeah, vintage.
Colin, that's a serious score, but like, I don't know whether it is the Ben O'Connor influence. I've seen aspects of Connor's play in the last 12 months where his distribution has improved immeasurably. He's not just hitting the ball to get the flashy score. Today already he's thrown around 3 or 4 brilliant balls, and by throwing it around, creating space for himself and then getting the receiving pass, that's how that score was achieved.
Yeah, I think you mentioned in the semi-final when we were doing it that it would take a bit of time for the Ben O'Connor influence to bed in. Well, it certainly has now.
Yeah, and he's got a mix. He's using a bit of Newtown stuff. But what I love about his style of play is it's very traditional, man on man, no real sweeper stuff. Trust the players in front of you, and that's maybe why the likes of Ross O'Regan and these fellas are reveling.
Eventually it's found by Liam Collin, but poor ball by him. Can only pick out Tommy O'Connell. O'Connell going right across the field all the way towards Sean O'Mara, the man who's in UCC. He's 23 and he's moving at pace, and Sean O'Mara the shot from out in the wing, and Sean O'Mara with the score, and Sean O'Mara pushing Middleton 14-6 ahead.
Yeah, it's a brilliant performance from Middleton so far. 25 minutes gone on the clock and they have 14 points, and I think they have 12 of them from play. It's been a magnificent performance so far from the Magpies.
Absolutely incredible performance, but we will never, ever, ever right off Glen Rovers in county final day. Ball dropping in on top of the corner forward. There was Luke O'Farrell being pulled back. Referee didn't think so anyway. But Middleton still haven't given up the ghost of trying to get the ball out. Eventually it's Robert Downey who's forced to turn left and right and eventually get the shot off, and took a heavy blow as well too, just as he did. And the ball gone out over the sideline here, and it's going to be Cormac Walsh taking the sideline. Good connection by Walsh, and he's got a man all in space and all the time in the world, and that man, well, when you give him that kind of space, that kind of latitude, there can only be one result if his name is Conor Lahan.
Yeah, incredible score. And just to go back to the earlier incident there, I know some of the Middleton lads might have felt it was a free, but I think the general punter likes to see the game moving. I noticed last night with Davy Copson, earlier with Nathan Wall, and today with Mark O'Mara. The referees seem to be letting the game go an awful lot more and maybe not calling for those frees which 12 months ago were being given.
You're watching the Co-op Superstores Cork Premier Senior Hurling Championship final. There's a battle for possession here, and there's a goal. And it's Patrick Horgan who's after putting it into the back of the net. A high ball in on top of Horgan and the full-back Luke Deneen. And all the strength of Patrick Horgan, all the guile, all the experience, shook the man off and just rolled it in.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and he took his time. He stayed on his feet, which is the big thing. And the ball bobbled for him. And he had the patience. Just touch it, flick it to himself and put it into the back of the net.
Well, what sort of a reply can Middleton muster from Sean O'Mara? It's a wide. You're watching the Co-op Superstores Cork Premier Senior Hurling Championship final being brought to you live and exclusive and for free right here on the Irish Examiner website this afternoon, with thanks to the Co-op Superstores, sponsors of the championship. 27 minutes elapsed here. 1-6 to Glen Rovers, 15 points to Middleton. Glen Rovers now, their tails are up after that wonderful piece of magic by Patrick Horgan, and he's won a free straight in front of the goals.
Well, Middleton will be disappointed because they had a chance to score. You'll always say after a big score, get the next one, and then they had a dispossession when they were probably in pole position to get a second score, so they'll be disappointed with that. But look, there's no magic formula to the way that Glen play, really. If Patrick's inside, get it to him. He's sitting the half forward line, try and find him. To date, he's played all his whatever 28 minutes inside the full forward line. They probably haven't hit him enough. I think Luke Deneen probably would have been disappointed as well. He seemed to be in control. When it came to the ground, there was only going to be one winner, and Patrick used his guile and definitely, you mentioned it yourself, Colin, ferocious strength to finish, and this is a big score now, kind of a 4-point swing.
Yeah, well, Luke Deneen, his nickname is the Bull, but he was after meeting a bigger bull there and was horsed out of it by Patrick Horgan, and from that range there was only going to be one result as he rolled it into the net. And all the class that you would expect from Patrick Horgan coming to the surface on county final day. And it's definitely added an extra pep into the Glen Rovers step here. That's Patrick Horgan collecting the ball from Downey. He's opted to go short. He's got a runner inside him, but it looked to be Tommy O'Connell that spotted the danger. First time ball by him in towards the corner. There's a foot race on here, but I'd say David Dooling is going to be the odds-on favourite to get there, and he's going to bring back his goalkeeper, Cathal Hickey. Hickey has options out here now, and he's left. He was aiming for Rob Downey, but overcooked it slightly. Oh, that's a lovely piece of magic there by Lahan. It's not going to end in the score, though, is it? Is it? Is it? Ross O'Regan got the score, but I think you have to say Conor Lahan was the instigator there.
Yeah, pop pass. I don't think it's in the playlist anywhere. Colin was training underage.
I was about to say, it was with your under 8s if you saw some young fella doing that.
But they got the right result from it.
Absolutely incredible, and Ross O'Regan applying the finish, but all the hard work being done by Lahan. Now, here come Glen Rovers yet again. Pitch opening up for Dean Brosnan. Still Dean Brosnan on the 21, being forced to go backwards and then forwards, and then Dean Brosnan getting the shot off. The man is playing in his 7th county final. He's all that experience, and he showed it there.
That was a great score. I mean, if you chart back kind of Dean's scoring averages, he's after 58 or 59 championship games, he's 2 points a game average, which is a very, very good average. He's a brilliant player. He's a great old warrior, and that was just a score out of total determination and resilience, really. He kept at it.
Owen Downey getting the shot off. Ball dropping down. There's a bit of a pull there on Luke Horgan, and I'm sure that's going to result in a free. Yes, it is, Mark Maher.
And the correct free for Matt Maher, and to be fair to him, 30 minutes gone, and we haven't mentioned the referee once, and that is because he's having a fantastic game himself. There's both teams are going at it hammers and tongs as well. It probably is an easy enough game to play, but Mark Maher has contributed to the game so far in a very positive outlook.
Patrick Horgan standing over the free here. Patrick Horgan adding to his personal tally this afternoon. It's now 1 goal and 9 to 16 points. We're heading at 31.5 minutes, and we're also heading to the half-time break. That first half flew, lads, for the opening few minutes. A bit like the earlier game, Shawnee, that we were down pitchside for. A blistering start, and then the opponents managing to settle and claw their way back in, and again, as we saw with the first game, a goal at the right time as well too, proving crucial.
Yeah, not maybe as dramatic as the first game, in that Kanturk had all the play, and then Father O'Neill's wormed their way back into a kind of a 2-7 situation at half time. Yes, the Glen have got the goal and they've brought it back to a 4-point game, but I mean, the reality is, I suppose, at the moment Middleton are 7, 8, 9, even 10 points better than the Glen, but the goal just sort of keeps them in, and Patrick's strength and ability to win frees also sort of keeps the Glen scoreboard ticking over. But without question, the Glen need to start getting more of a threat from the other forwards. Dean Brosnan has tried very, very hard. I think Luke needs to come into the game, Mark Dooley needs to come into the game, Liam Collin, and look, Simon has shown flashes. I don't think he's got enough ball. Simon has shown flashes that when he gets it, he can make something happen, but you know, the Middleton Sexton are much more stronger and better and much more forceful, and you know, basically it's about putting scores on the board. Middleton are doing it better with much more regularity than the Glen.
Yeah, and like you know, you'd have to say, like, there's only 4 points in it, and Midland has done all the hurling. I mean, the Glen will be delighted going to the dressing room at half time. They say, lads, we haven't even showed up, and we're within striking distance, so it's going to be met for a very interesting second half.
Okay, time for us to go down pitch side to Ger Cunningham, TJ Ryan, but first we're going to head down and catch up with Patrick Mulcahy, who's down there pitch side for us right now. Patrick.
Yes, thanks very much indeed, Colum. Half-time, and an interesting game so far. TJ and Ger Cunningham beside me. And TJ, I suppose, Middleton got off to an absolute flyer, but 14 points out of 16 from play. It's an extraordinary start.
Absolutely flying it, yeah. They'll be delighted with their first half performance. Their key players, as I said already, are in the game. That half-forward line, really, really key at the moment. Like Lahan flying it, that last score there. When those things happen in the county final, when you pop a pass over your head and the centre forward nails it, them kind of things tell you it's your day.
And I suppose the goal then came from absolutely nothing, just a long ball, 1-1 between Dineen and Hoggy, and Hoggy, as he does, finding the back of the net.
Yeah, you just can't take your eye off of Patrick for a minute. Ball went in, a kind of a ball to nothing really. The two of them seemed to be grappling for the ball. The ball just seemed to break between the goalkeeper and the fullback, whether some sort of, the ball just broke to the left of Patrick Horgan. Didn't panic, saw the ball and just flicked it into the net. As I say, he hadn't been in the game from play up to that, but some unbelievable pieces of skill then after that to bring them back into the game. You know, how they're only 4 points down, Patrick, after being out of the game in the first half. Middleton have done all the hurling and they're only going in 4 points down, but Middleton have been so impressive in that first half. 11 points, I think, from their half-forward line, and that's the Glen's big line. You know, the two Downies, Brian Moyle, and they're their leaders of the team. So Middleton will be delighted with that performance in the first half.
And there were some outrageous scores, but the one in front of us from Ross O'Regan here on the left flank was a brilliant score.
Yeah, Ross O'Regan's was definitely the pick of him. That's his 4th from play, and like we said already, 4 from play, 5 from play from Lan, 4 from Ross O'Regan, 2 from Pa White. The Glen will have to get a hold on these guys if they want to get back in the game. If they want to, I suppose they want to close them down. I think they have to pick up Lan, Tyser, and they need more from their own forwards. Like outside of Hoggy, the rest of them aren't in the game.
What do the Glen have to do from here now to try and get back into it and get into a lead?
They seem to be struggling on their own puck out. Can't seem to get any decent ball into the inside line. Like as Ger said there, Hoggy got a goal from nothing, but nothing else really nice went in from a full forward line. So they need more ball in.
And like from a Glen point of view, only 3 points from play, so they're not offering enough.
Yeah, they're struggling. Like I think Middleton were certainly in top in the half-back line there. They were winning all the breaking ball. The 3 across the half-back line, 2 in midfield, and then the impressive half-hour that we spoke about. The Glen are struggling. They're relying on kind of on breaking play, some loose play, and you know, playing quite direct at times. But again, they've scored 1-9, and Hoggy has got 1-7, 1-6, 1-6. You know what I mean? The other forwards are not in the game as much, whereas Middleton, like their spread of scores, the only forward that hasn't scored for Middleton is Luke O'Farrell. You know, so the Middleton's forwards are on strong. Again, sometimes when you play in the Soca with the wind down against them in the second half, that might suit Middleton as well, because they're creating an awful lot of space. There's an awful lot of movement going on down here. And again, they'll be delighted with their first half. The first 10 or 12 minutes here, Patrick, in the second half, I think will decide a long way to how this game is going to work out.
Is it still Middleton's to lose, or have the Glen more to offer in the second half?
Well, Glen, by their own standards, haven't played to the level that they'd be disappointed with. They've been just slightly off the pace. Middleton have been so impressive, so I think Middleton will need to get back now to, sometimes when you break at half time, you reassess. The big challenge now for Middleton is to go again, to play to the same level that they did in the first half. The Glen, if they can get some momentum going, get the ball in, get a couple of scores, try bring the game back down to maybe by the second water break back to level pegging, then we have a game.
TJ, your thoughts?
I just agree with Jared there. Like, Middleton have 16 points on the board, 14 of them from play, which is a phenomenal return in 30 minutes. Can they keep that up? I suppose if they can, they'll definitely win. But for me, if the Glen are going to get back in this game, their half-back line is key. They have to close down Lahan and Ross O'Regan. They're kind of interplaying there, moving from 10-11. Rob Downey's under pressure with Lahan's movement. For me, that's going to have to be fixed.
Well, a lot to play for. It's still Middleton by 4 points. But as we look into the crowd and everyone in anticipation of the second half, let's hand it back upstairs to Shawnee, Mark and Colm.
Thanks as always, Patrick, and thanks to TJ and to Ger. Just out on pitch at the moment, the 1996 Avondhu side, county champions, the Jubilee team being honoured as we speak. You remember that all too well, Mark?
I certainly do. Thanks for reminding me. I was captain of the McKilly team that day. That lost after a replay narrowly to Avondhu. Played fantastic hurling, led by Jack Russell, captain by Abbott and Kenny, and Conor Hannon was the man of the match. Colm on that day, I don't think he played in the drawn game and played in the replay at full back. And Mark, one of our top men, Jimmy Smithy, that day, and he ended up getting the man of the match. So, but you know what? They were fantastic champions. Fergal McCormick was on that team at centre forward, midfield. He was brilliant. Brian O'Driscoll as well. Johnny Welch from Mallow. You know, a couple of lads, and Newtown, a young man by the name of Pat Mulcahy was on that team as well. So went on to win counties with his beloved Newtown Shandon. But it was a fantastic occasion. Two divisional teams in the final. It's the only time there was two teams, but I can remember it like yesterday. But we went on, lucky enough, we went on to win two counties after, in 97 and 98, and we would have always said that loss probably hardened us up significantly to give us the will to go on after being beaten.
Okay, just want to mention as well, and we touched on it beforehand, the crowd here this afternoon. Shawnee, just looking across here, when was the last time that you were able to sit up here and look and see that kind of an attendance? Wonderful to see.
No, it's fantastic, Colm, and I think Mark has been referencing it for a while, like getting the two games on. He said a couple of weeks ago, like having the curtain raiser has been a big game, and you know, the senior A game was absolutely brilliant. Two top-class teams in it. But yeah, it's fantastic. I mean, we've been through so much, and it feels like there could be more to come, maybe with the Christmas coming and announcements maybe imminent. But for now, we're in the here and the now. Today is fantastic. It's magical. And look, the big teams like Middleton and the Glen and the big players involved will always bring, you know, obviously supporters from each club, the relevant club or specific club, say, but the neutral as well coming down to see the big players in action. We mentioned it last day in the semi-final. Like, it's grand to come down and see the big players, but they don't always perform. But to come down and to see Lehan scoring and creating, to see Ross O'Regan scoring, to see, you know, new fellas like Luke O'Farrell, Cormac Bazang, all these fellas really, really doing their stuff. And then on the other side, to see Patrick Horgan, Rob Downey and all these guys. Look, it's absolutely brilliant. So, yeah, it's fantastic. More of it, no coming for the next couple of years, in fairness, because, you know, we've been gasping for action in general because of COVID, but it's brilliant to see our Cork hurling really, really back to form.
And just to add to what Shawnee has said, a huge touch from the county board to offer 1,000 free tickets to the frontline workers who have done a magnificent job for this country over the last 2 years. You know, there isn't a person out there who hasn't been affected, I'd say, by COVID. You know, and just to remember the people that have lost their lives due to COVID as well. And I think there's a very sincere gesture by the county board to give 1,000 tickets, and there's another 1,000 tickets for the football final as well next weekend. So, you know, fair play. And I suppose the people have voted with their feet here at Cullum today by turning out the huge numbers that they have turned out. And, you know, they have been, I suppose, we're 3/4 of the way through the programme today, but the Senior A final was a really, really good game for any neutral that was at the game. Obviously, if your father O'Neill's or your Kentucky, you have a vested interest and you're going to be nervous and stuff like that. But for the neutrals, it was a really, really good game. And you know what was brilliant as well is that the best players were playing out of their skin. So Aidan Walsh, Lachlan McLaughlin, John Melrick, when he came on, they were absolutely brilliant. And it's great to see, you know, that the quality players are also producing it for their clubs as well. And we're also seeing that now in the senior match as well. Particularly Conor Lehane has been outstanding so far in the game. And Patrick Horgan has been very, very good with a limited supply of ball, I would suggest.
Okay, Middleton back out on the pitch. I don't know, is it a bit of a psychological warfare? Glenn, or back out, maybe it's a longer team speech. Shawnee, TJ there, and Ger, I think, concurred as well. The half-back line for Glenn going to be vital to try and shut down Lehane and company.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes then you can target a half-back line and saying they're not doing well enough. But I think the ball maybe from the Glen forwards is a bit easy coming out, say, from the Middleton backs. You know, they're clearing the ball without too much pressure. So the Glen needs to up the ante in a couple of stakes. The scoring stakes in the forward line and also the work rate. If the work rate is good, the ball coming out is going to be poor. That gives our half-back line, the Glen half-back line, a better chance.
The floodlights are on. Who's going to be shining in about half an hour's time in the Co-op Superstores Cork Premier Senior Hurling Championship Final game, live and exclusive and free here on the Irish Examiner, with thanks to the Co-op Superstores, the sponsors of the championship. Two Middleton lads getting in each other's way, and it's allowing Adam Lynch to clear it down with interest, but he can only pick out a Middleton man, and that's Sean O'Mara. He's lost possession though, and it's coming out here in front of us. A bit of a foot race is all kind of a bit broken, as we saw in the opening few minutes as well. The hand trying to get himself down, and Owen Downey has possession, being forced to go back and bring in his full-back, big Stephen McDonald. He's gone to ground, and eventually he's been blown up for over-carrying.
That's huge now. That's a huge decision. You know,
A bit tough on him.
I think tough on him, but like, if you're a Middleton mentor or a Middleton supporter, you're thrilled that your forwards are hassling and turning the ball over and then getting a free in a scoring position. So big call.
But it's not the first time this year Middleton have done that, Mark. Like we referenced it as well in the Blackrock game, that their tackling is really, it's good. It's timing. You know, they're getting the shoulders in, and they won a great free there.
Yeah, and Conor Lehane is, after all importantly, putting it over, pushing it out to 17 points to 1-9. 31 and a half minutes in old money elapsed, so just about a minute and a half of the second half here. Poor old Mark Landers is looking longingly at the cups of tea that are flowing past us here in the commentary box. A bit of a tap there on Cormac Walsh, I think, caught it in the rib cage. It looked to be David Noonan that was the aggressor on that occasion, and end result is another free, and it's another chance for Conor Lehane to push things out. Not exactly the start that the Glen would have wanted.
No, and again, who started off the brightest? Cormac Walsh over in that left half-back position, won the free, won the second ball when he came in off the break. He's been very, very bright, and started the second half the way he finished the first.
It's very significant off camera. You can see there's about 10 players, and they all have their hand up in front of their eyes because they can't see. The sun has gone very, very low, I would say, and it's going to be very difficult from the middle and puck out for their forwards in the second half, because that sun is certainly piercing their eyes.
Yeah, is that something, Shawnee, back in the day when you'd be inside corner forward playing here in Páirc Uí Chaoimh with the ball coming in with that sort of a sunlight?
Well, you'd hope to affect the corner back more than you anyway, Colin. You might get away with it if you dropped it, more so than if he did.
A free there, Patrick Horgan being pulled and dragged by Luke Dineen. and it's going to be a free end, and that's an easy free one there. As thankfully somebody was listening to us anyway, and a cup of coffee has been dispatched up to Mark Landers. Maybe
Yeah, and Colm does a couple of text messages after coming in. People are saying I'm yawning at the television as well. And it's not for the standard of the game, anyway, I can tell you. It was just very good.
And Patrick Horgan driving that one straight and true and over, and it's 1-11 now to 18 points, 33 and a half minutes gone. 110 should I say, not 111. Breen Saunderson, poor puck out by the goalkeeper, and that's exactly what Glen Rovers want. Adam O'Donovan bursting through. O'Donovan is trying to get an in towards Horgan yet again. Has a runner outside him, but he's going to go himself, but takes a very heavy hit. A very heavy hit of a hurley there from the wing back. I think it was Kiervek Smith that caught him, and I'm sure a yellow card is on its way to the young defender.
Yeah, what preceded actually, Colm, it was actually a decent puck out. Sorry to come across you. It was actually a poor second ball from Paul Hockney. He had created great space, and without even looking, kind of pucked the ball sillily, criminally across his own line.
I apologise, Breen. It was the sight of the hot chocolate and marshmallows here for Mark that had distracted me. So apologies to Breen Saunderson on that one.
He's got a good PA. I've got nothing yet.
So if anyone is in close location, would you believe that as we were talking there,
I know Shawnee
has been delivered to Shawnee? I hope it's the rich tea is on the way. Patrick Horgan with the resultant free, slamming it over. Now it is 1-11 to 18 points with 35 minutes
and the funny thing, Colm, there's still only 4 points in it, and Midland are still probably doing all the hurling at this moment in time, but like if Midland can get a goal, I think they'll have one hand in the cup.
That was a wonderful paw there by Conor Lahan, bringing in Paul Hockney. He's lost it though, and it's Glen Rovers coming down. A lovely ball being played in towards the corner for the wing forward, should I say, Luke Horgan. And Luke Horgan from 45 yards has popped it over. We saw some classy scores from the likes of Ross O'Regan and Pa White in a similar position in the first half, and Luke O'Horgan doing exactly that there.
And just to finish off my point, Colm, about Midland getting a goal, we all know that if the longer the Glen will stay in this game, the better chance they're going to have.
Conor Lahan spills away from him, but Pa White was perfectly positioned to take the breaking ball, and takes a hefty shoulder as well as he goes past. And it's going to be, is it a sideline or a free? Free in the end, yeah.
And back to the score again, Mark. In fairness, it's exactly what Luke Horgan needed. I mean, he has a good Cork year, say, with the under-20s. He played some great games, was kind of out of the game today for long spells, but that was a great score off his left, and just before it, Brian Moylan showed great experience and composure to give him a ball down the line.
Thanks to Kevin and all the crew here for ferrying us the cups of coffee and the tea here, and badly wanted as well. That was a badly wanted score for Middleton after that little mini resurgence from Glen Rovers.
And a difficult free as well, out on the sideline as well, county final. You know, they're not easy frees.
Dropping down on it, foot brace is on, and it's Tommy O'Connell who's trying to get down on it. O'Connell, the centre back, at the second time of asking, but there was a foul committed. I think the referee was saying that there was a touch on the ground, and there's a bit of an old-fashioned schmozzle breaking out, as famously one said, where you wouldn't be growing too many heads of cabbage. But they're all back on their feet anyway now, thankfully.
Tommy O'Connell was going back to his own goal, and he tried to tap the ball into his hand, and it didn't come off, and it's didn't flick the ball on the ground, but he would have been better off to put his two hands down and put his two hands on the hurling picker, going back to his own net, his own goals, and secure the ball, which is the most important thing to do.
Patrick Horgan flinging it over.
I know with only 3 points in it, you get a sense now that it's going to be a shootout really from here on in. Yeah, and again, back to the score and the free. I mean, it was either cuteness out of the Glen or silliness from Middleton, because I actually think it was the second man, not Tommy, that gave away the free, which was silly, really.
Kiervek Smith standing over that one was lucky, I think, not to get a yellow card for that little collision a little earlier. But it's kind of bit broken yet again. I'm not sure, is it the Glen who have upped the intensity, or whether Middleton's first half endeavours and efforts have caught up with them a small bit. Conor Lahan there with a strike from right along the sideline. That is an effort and a half, but it's just gone wide. Would have been an absolutely incredible score if he'd managed to get that one over, given the tightness of the angle. Cathal Hickey, powerful puck out yet again by him, well beyond midfield. Struggling though to find a man down there. Eventually though it's picked up by Luke Horgan. Horgan and Tommy O'Connell bustling and battling for possession. And it's gone off a Middleton defender, Owen Maloney, and gone out over the sideline. Middleton look a small bit rattled.
Just a small. I think the Glen half forward line, particularly Luke Horgan, are starting to come into the game and they're just making it hard without doing anything extravagant or brilliant or plucking big massive balls out of the air. They're just working hard, they're pulling it on the ground, and they're just making sure that Middleton don't win clean possession.
He's not going to go for a score. He's looking for somebody to come to him so he can play short.
Well, not that short. It only went as far as Sean O'Leary Hayes, right into the hand there. Conor Lahan somehow has managed to bring that one down, but Downey getting in ahead of him, I think, and getting it out for Owen Downey, eventually getting it out for a sideline. There's a substitute coming on there for Glen Rovers.
Doris, you mentioned him earlier on, Shani. 60 caps, I think, for the Glen.
Yeah, and an
he's
average.
a game changer, isn't he, Sean?
Yeah, and like Conor Doris, I mean, again, I love the old stat stuff. I think he's averaged nearly 2.5 to nearly 3 points a game for the Glen. So over 50 odd 60 games, that's incredible scoring. We saw in the last 2 games the scores that he got, particularly the semi-final one off the left over his shoulder. He's a real match winner.
The man that's nicknamed, I'm told, Van Doris. An employee of Dairy Gold, our sponsors this afternoon. He's one of the veterans in the team, but with scoring stats like that, he's a welcome addition. That little short interplay yet again by Middleton, taking from the Newtown Shandrum playbook. Eventually gone to Cormac Walsh, and Cormac Walsh, the wing back, after taking it from Conor Lahan, and Cormac Walsh has driven that one wide.
Disappointed with that one now. We had a similar game, a similar situation in the first match, where some of the opportunities, when the game is really on the line now, both teams know, if they can up their game slightly, they're going to take home the cup.
Kilvac Smith, he's only a teenager, but wow, is he playing like an experienced campaigner this afternoon. Another experienced campaigner is this man on the ball, Luke O'Farrell, jinking this way and that way, getting the shot off. He's driven that one out. It's gone out. It's been touched. The defender is saying he didn't make any connection. They're all running in to have a word with the umpire. The goalkeeper, Cathal Hickey, is in there as well. But kind of surprised me, though, that Luke O'Farrell from an angle like that wouldn't have gotten a cleaner connection.
But sure, I suppose the error that he made was he had the man beaten on his right hand side. He went back in to go on to his left hand side, his preferred side, and I think David Doolan got a great hook on him.
And the referee, Mark Maher, has overruled his umpire.
Isn't that good? That's good to see that happening. But that sun is very difficult down on that side of the field, and maybe the umpire might have been blinded.
Yeah, well, as you said, good performance by Mark Maher in the opening half, and he's continuing that here in the second half, overruling his umpire there. There was doubt over that one, and Middleton losing the opportunity of a 65, but Middleton chasing after possession here, but they want to have it down in their own end when Adam Lynch is there cleaning up stuff back into the wing back there. Owen Downey first time ball, but it's Tommy O'Connell racing out for it, and O'Connell has been fouled, and that's going to be a free. This is surely beyond Lahan's range. I'm sure he's offering himself, baby.
He's going back for it anyway, Colm. It'll be just about on his range, to be honest. But the form he's in at the moment, Colm, it wouldn't surprise me if he put it over the bar.
And he gained an extra yard there, but the Glen were very quick to point out to the linesman down below us here to pull it back. Interesting to see, though. And again, maybe with the sun, maybe the way the sun is, a ball like this dropping in and around the square could be very, very dangerous. Here's Lahan.
No, that's 3 or 4, Mark.
had the distance, not the accuracy.
3 or 4 wide the last couple of plays.
We've a sub coming on from Middleton. It's Paul Hockney is making way, and 25 Seamus O'Farrell is coming off. Of course, Hockney impressive in the opening spell, but had a yellow card as well too. The 30-year-old making way, and it's Seamus O'Farrell wearing number 25 who's on in his place, and O'Farrell there chasing out after that ball there, but had gone out over the sideline, and it's going to be a quickly taken sideline there to Glen Rovers. Dean Brosnan working very hard trying to get on it, but they've somehow managed to lose the ball. Gone back as far as Adam Lynch. Lynch is blocked by Conor Lahan. Lahan 45 yards out looking for a runner. He's got one inside him. It's the corner forward Sean O'Mara. Oh, that's a wonderful piece of interplay there by, was it Downey that McDonald that got on it, showing all his experience to cut out the dangerous pass.
Well, that was the goal scoring opportunity, definitely, that presented itself to Middleton. An unbelievable play by McDonald. At the last second got in a stick to intercept it.
Huge play, and I think what's kind of intriguing is that both full forward lines are being starved, and both cornerbacks and fullbacks are doing really, really well. The battle between Luke O'Farrell, Dave Dooling, and Cormac Bazang and Stephen McDonald has been absolutely brilliant. And again, it's the off-camera stuff. When ball is going out from the Middleton half-back line, to see the foot race between Stephen McDonald and Cormac Bazang, 20-21, Mackie 31-32, and he going toe-to-toe with him.
Yeah.
In fairness, with great credit due. So,
Resultant free, and Patrick Horgan has driven that one surprisingly wide.
It's a big miss now in the context of the game, and a tight game like this, with your ace marksman over the ball, you would expect Patrick to score them. He's always scored them.
Oh, interesting to see where Brian Saunderson is going to go with this puck out. He's going to go off left. I see Kiervek Smith was racing, looking as an option there. He's kind of pushed up from his wing back role. It's gone back towards the other wing back down there. Cormac Walsh can go backwards if he wishes. Eventually finds its way to Tommy O'Connell, the centre back one. Would want to watch himself there with Patrick Horgan cutting across it. Almost found the centre forward, but instead broken down. And it's all perfectly positioned now with Dean Brosnan. Dean Brosnan for Glen Rovers going in towards Patrick Horgan. Horgan forced to realign, and eventually Patrick Horgan getting the shot off, planting it right over the crossbar. And we were talking about interplay and inter-exchange of Middleton and praising it. The class and the experience of Dean Brosnan there. Looked up, didn't like what he saw, looked over, saw Patrick Horgan.
brilliant, very unselfish play. And again, though, in addition to that column, the Glen backs now are on top. It's noticeable the last couple of puck outs. Oh, just as I say, a great day.
Wow, that was Sam Quirk sailing through the air there.
Yeah, it was noticeable that the Glen have upped their intensity, and they're winning all the 50-50 balls right now.
Mark Dooley getting the ball in there towards, it's eventually found its way towards Simon Kennefick. I don't know, was he the intended target, but Kennefick has it, and Kennefick has it over the bar.
Complete momentum shift, exactly what the Glen wanted. Crowd on their backs, bench jumping up and down, back to a point game. They've really, really upped it. Nothing more really other than just massive intensity and work rate.
46 minutes elapsed here in the Co-op Superstores Cup Premier Senior Hurling Championship Final. It's Middleton's Conor Lahan who's taking the shot from 60-odd yards. Has he got the range? He hasn't the accuracy. It's gone wide.
And in the first half column they were going over the bar, and a couple of opportunities there now. That's 3 on the bounce from Middleton that have gone wide.
And Conal Hickey, very, very quick puck out from him to get the ball rolling again. The shot eventually coming off there. Is it from Luke Horgan over on that far side? The huge cheer that's coming across. Simon Kennefick was it, sorry, in the end?
Yeah, Simon.
And he has scored some magnificent points in the championship so far this year, particularly against the McKilly in the quarters.
We talk about momentum changers and momentum shifters. There's Cormac Bozang, has been relatively quiet this afternoon. Still Bozang getting the pass off to try and bring in Par White. He's lost it, but it's going to be a free in. First time we've really seen Bozang at speed this afternoon.
Yeah, when he puts on the burners, he's very, very good. What's noticeable as well, Colin, is that some of the aerial stuff is very, very good, particularly from Middleton. Their clean catching is excellent. But again, back to Mark's point and Sammy Kennefick. Again, Mark with the stats. I think this is his 17th championship game. Himself and Cormac Bazang have played the exact same number of championship games, and they've more or less scored the exact same. So, I mean, again, on a head-to-head, Simon today is probably a little bit more efficient and better, even though Bazang set up a great score there. But Simon, for 16 games, is on nearly 3 points a game. He's already got 2. So another, you'd expect 1 or 2 to come from him, and the last 2 would certainly have been massive scores.
That's a massive score there now as well from Conor Lahan, coming just before the water break. And time for us to head down to the sideline, to Patrick, to Ger, and to TJ Ryan.
Huge turnaround, lads. I suppose the Glen fixed all the things that were problems from the first half. Half-back in the game in a major way. Plenty ball going in. Back to 1 point. They'll be very happy. I suppose the Middleton one, Ger, is they were scoring freely in the first half play. They scored 4 points in that quarter, and all 4 came from frees.
Yeah, definitely, as the lad said in commentary, the intensity from the Glen has definitely they're gone to a new level completely, and they've tightened up completely, especially in the back line and on the Middleton forward line. This is the Conor Lahan show from Middleton's point of view today. He's on everything really. Every play is involved with him. Everything they tried to find him from puck outs, and his general play, laying off the ball, could have been a brilliant goal there halfway through the first half. There they walked the ball in. And an unbelievable interception from Stephen McDonald, showing all his experience to get that vital touch. They will be really, really happy with that performance. Like, they've brought it right back now to a point, and a lucky 3 point was Patrick missed a free that he normally would get. So they've brought it right back down to a point, and it's all to play for. The Glen have huge momentum. They've got into the game. They're in a place where they really want to be. Middleton have done all the hurling and only a point ahead, so all to play for.
Yeah, you have to say Simon Kennedy looking dangerous on the side with the last couple of balls.
Absolutely, he's got 2 great balls in, so if they can feed them inside there, you know, the Glen have been here before. They've lost the last 2 finals. Will that be enough? Will that hurt from the last 2 years be enough to push them over the line?
It usually is.
Back up to the lads on commentary.
Okay, thanks very much, TJ, and to Ger down there, pit side. So there are the viewpoints there,
It's
Mark.
finally pies now. I mean, like, look, if you said before the game there'd be a point in it with going into the last quarter, and like Midland had a lot of the play, but the Glen, all the Glen momentum is there at the moment, but it's just fantastic. The game has become a way better spectacle, Column, since half time.
Oh, certainly has lifted up in pace and in intensity, and absolutely wonderful to be bringing this game to you on our Irish Examiner live stream this afternoon. The Co-op Superstores Cork Premier Senior Hurling Championship Final, with thanks to the Co-op Superstores, the sponsors of the championship. That's Sean O'Mara trying to work something out there, has got a runner, and that's Cormac Boisang. Cormac Boisang from 40 yards. Cormac Boisang with the point. We were talking about Cormac being in and out of the game. Well,
Yeah,
now's the time to be in.
But they've moved him to wing forward, which I think is a big thing. And Stephen McDonald had him well marshalled earlier on. Even though he's got a limited supply of ball, he's out in wing forward now, and that has certainly helped him.
Dean Brosnan lost the ball. Tommy O'Connell did ever so well. Brosnan chased back then, and he's after committing a foul on Conor Lahan. And Lahan now, another score here, will certainly steady, or try to steady, the Middleton ship.
Yeah, and coming down the stretch, to Mark's point, that's exactly what Middleton will hope they'll get now. A bit more of a return from Bazang and a bit more of a return from maybe Luke O'Farrell, who's been fairly quiet to date. Bazang score, again, Lehan at the heart of this free, so these are 2 massive scores.
Yeah, shot from Conor Lahan, and it is a massive score.
With 3 points, Column, like, you know, and a lot of these lads, the Midland lads, have no county medals, and, you know, I suppose the end line is coming, and it might be starting to stutter a small little bit. Those 2 points are a great G up for them now.
Oh yeah, we'd look at that for a fantastic catch there by the corner forward, Mark Dooley. It's gone in towards the wing forward. Eventually it's Luke Horgan, I think that's after, or is it Kennefick again?
Kennefick.
Simon Kennefick,
Yeah.
sorry.
He's on fire.
Yeah, and like, Adam is a fabulous player. He's been a fabulous player for the Glen down through the years, but he did much better there now than the first half. And he aimed the shot in the first half, then ended up into the goalie's hand. Great take from Mark, great back pass, and a brilliant ball in from Adam.
Conor Lahan gone in towards the corner. It's the corner forward there. It's Luke O'Farrell, still Luke O'Farrell. The shot from O'Farrell. The point from Luke O'Farrell. For a second there, it looked like it was opening up for him.
Yeah, he'd be happy with that. The most important thing is to keep the scoreboard ticking over. He went back again on the right and left. He has that jink all the time. Good finish.
Ball being played in towards Kennefick. He's been unmarkable the last couple of plays. On this occasion, it just spilled away from him. And it's found its way out as far as Sam Quirk, hoping to add to the family collection of county championship medals. His dad, Cormac, a medal winner 30 years ago, a goal scorer, would you believe, 30 years ago. There's a foul being committed there. I think Ross O'Regan was the man that was fouled in the end. I can see the cornerback down there, Adam Lynch, questioning the decision with Mark Marr. But I don't think I've ever seen a referee overturn a decision.
No, and a correct decision, I think, as well. But like, we have to compliment the Middleton sideline now. Ross O'Regan has gone into the full forward position. Cormac Wugzang has gone out wing forward. He started actually in the north stand side. He's now here on the south stand side. So Middleton are starting to rotate their forwards as well, Colm, which possibly is helping to break down the momentum of the Glen half battle, because they had certainly had a stranglehold on the Middleton forwards in the first quarter or the second half.
Another point there for Conor Nahan adding to the tally. I can see Mark as the abacus outgoing. We've a sub coming on there in a few moments' time for Middleton. It looks to be Garen Manley that's coming on, trainee teacher. We'll keep a track on that. Kiervak Smith there for a young man is getting on quite a lot of ball, and a ball has been pumped into Lahan. On a great battle there, eventually being taken up by the fullback Stephen McDonald. You can see that.
Brilliant.
You can see that class, can't you?
Yeah, it's brilliant between the two of them. The both were sprinting flat out. Lahan tried to flick the ball back through his legs. McDonald wasn't having any of it. Won the 50-50 then, and was foul coming out. Great play by McDonald.
Garen Manley is on, and it's Pa White, number 12, that's making way. Free while all of that was taking place. The resultant free, and Cathal Hickey has made his way out for this one. Shawnee, would you just keep Patrick where he is, or would you try and move him a bit farther out to make something happen?
Yeah, I had said earlier in the first half maybe bring him out, but with Simon so busy inside, it mightn't be any harm if Patrick does come out. And even if Simon becomes the focal man inside, because everything that goes in, he's just busy, he's action, he's buzzing, and sometimes when you're buzzing, just keep feeding him, a bit like Cormac Bazang in the semi-final. Like all Ben did in that game was he left Bazang inside and he peppered the ball in. Again today, maybe bring Patrick out to that half forward line. He can score from any angle and just feed as much ball in as possible to Simon Kennefick.
Keep one target man inside.
Maybe, exactly.
Sideline there, Owen Downey, good connection, good, great tenacious defending there by the cornerback Sean O'Leary Hayes to win it somehow. It gets foot to it, knocks it out. It's going to be another sideline for Glen Rovers here. 53 minutes gone. This is the Co-op Superstores Cork Premier Senior Hurling Championship Final, being brought to you live and exclusive and free to air here on the Irish Examiner website. Delighted to have your company around Cork, around Munster, around Ireland and around the world this afternoon. Massive crowd here in Páirc Uí Chaoimh, wonderful atmosphere. The opening game, the Senior A Hurling Championship Final, going the way of Kanturk after a momentous battle with Father O'Neill's, and of course Kanturk will be chasing a double in about 2 weeks' time. What a game that's going to be against Newmarket, just about 5 miles of road separating the two of them. But we're here talking hurling this afternoon, and we're here watching Adam O'Donovan. That's him there on the sideline, about to take this sideline. His side trailing Middleton in the county final. Can they manufacture something down the stretch? If anyone's going to help them do it, is that man on the ball, Patrick Horgan. He has been incredible this afternoon from placed balls, and scored the game's only goal as well.
Yeah, but Middleton want to concede easy frees now. That was, I would consider, an easy free there. They right to stand him up, put him under pressure. Like, he's going to score everything he gets from a free. So Middleton had enough men around him. They just need to continue to swarm him and make him play the ball.
Tired bodies don't, tired minds. That's often the case for those type of frees. Puck out from the goalkeeper. It's kind of squirmed away from the corner forward from Mark Dooley there, but somehow Glen Rovers getting it back. Dean Brosnan getting the shot off from just about 65 yards, and Dean Brosnan, oh, that's a bit of momentum killer there, Shawnee.
Yeah, Dean's our huge scores now coming down the stretch with 5 minutes to go. I mean, you know, Dean has been a brilliant server for us. I thought his experience and his ability would have tipped it over, but as you said, tired minds, tired bodies, and with 5 minutes to go, you know, they've put in a massive shift so far.
Breen Saunderson, fine big puck out from him. It's Rob Downey, who's our own Downey. I think Rob Downey eventually, one of the Downeys is after getting it. Cormac Bosang punting it in towards the corner. Is there a chance trying to forage its way back here with the centre forward? A shot, what a save by the goalkeeper, Cathal Hickey. What a save by the goalkeeper, absolutely wonderful. I think it was Ross O'Regan that got the shot off, but cat-like reflexes by Cathal Hickey to stop that one.
A fantastic save by Cathal in the goals. First time that I think he's been called upon today, and he has delivered in spades. He's outstanding for the Glen for the last number of years, but he's certainly kept the Glen in this county final, and I think probably his momentum on his shoulder maybe from the Midland corner forward has knocked him out for a 65, which I'd say he probably disputed fairly significantly with the umpire, and he's going to be given an autograph now to the referee.
Yeah, and very similar to the semi-final, Mark. I mean, it was 5-2, I think, when Sars got through that time, and Luke Hackett had a big shot, and Cahill made a brilliant save. So similarly today, with, 3 points in it, that was a massive save.
Incredible save by the goalkeeper onto his left. I don't know how he got to it. End result is 65.
Which is a critical 65 now, because it pushes it out to a 2-score game if he gets it. No, he hasn't.
It's you don't score for the rest of the game.
A lifeline, would we call it that?
Well, there'd probably be 2 minutes of injury time you would be expecting. There's 5 minutes left in the game, and it's still only a 1-score game. Everybody will tell you, get it, push it out to 4 points, make it 2 scores.
Adam O'Donovan with the delivery, and they're aiming it in towards Horgan and Kennefic. That's Patrick Horgan racing after it. Conor Lahan, though, getting a little touch in it. How crucial will that be? Lahan still trying to get it back up under huge pressure down there. Middleton first to go backwards with their wing back, Cormac Walsh. Tommy O'Connell eventually getting onto it, and he's brought it out all the way to Seamus O'Farrell, the substitute that came on a few moments ago, and Middleton have somehow managed to squirrel it away. It's Luke O'Farrell chasing out after that one. Luke O'Farrell getting a push in the back, referee not calling it as a free. Play on. It's back with Cahill Hickey. Huge save by him a few moments ago. Great ball out by him, out as far as his wing back. Down here in front of us, here comes Adam O'Donovan. O'Donovan gone route one yet again, as you would expect with the game in the melting pot. It's Luke Horgan gone all the way back, and the shot that's eventually coming off from the substitute, Conor Doris, and he's driven that one wide. There's another substitute coming on for Glen Rovers. It's Calvin Healy that's coming on, and it's Luke Horgan who's making way. Shawnee.
Yeah, Calvin is a really busy player. He's probably going to run midfield just to get some energy into that Glen sort of middle third area. He's been a fabulous player down through the years for us, like Calvin, and he'll definitely, as I said, inject that type of energy into play now.
Glenn made a big move as well, because Rob Downey has been moved from centre back up to centre forward. So even though there's only a goal in it, Shawnee, that's a statement of intent that they think they need a goal at this stage to win it.
Cormac Boisang with the shot from out near the sideline. Cormac Boisang with the wide. It's kind of a rushed effort by him. Another substitute coming on, and it's a Middleton substitute that's coming on. It's the man number 20, Aaron Mulcahy, is coming on, and it's the corner forward Sean O'Mara, number 15, that's coming off. We're down the home stretch here in the Co-op Superstores Cork Premier Senior Hurling Championship final. Lads, I'm not going to even talk about man of the match for another few moments here, given the drama that's certain to unfold here. I can see another substitute. It's Daniel Morris that's been warmed up there by the Glen. We'll keep a track on that. I think there's a treatment there. Is it Adam Lynch?
There's actually Dave Dooley. He did it.
I'd say his hamstring. I'd say sprinting out. I'd say he's probably gone. But just the lineup now at the moment is that Patrick Horgan is inside with Simon Kennefic in a 2-man inside line. Luke Dineen is picking up Kennefic, and Sean O'Leary Hayes has gone back to pick up Patrick Horgan. Downey's gone centre forward, and he's been picked up by Tommy O'Connell.
Yeah, and to Mark's point, it's a huge statement from the Glen. If you remember, Mark, a couple of years ago, he played full forward for the Cork Miners, so he has that forward ability, that forward nous, and he's well able to get a score.
Just coming up on the hour mark, but obviously all these extra substitutions and stoppages, we will have a couple of minutes of extra time to play here this afternoon. It's Owen Maloney on the ball, going in as far as Ross O'Regan. Ross O'Regan from 60 yards. Ross O'Regan off the post. Goalkeeper Cahill Hickey for a second there. You could hear Middleton fans willing that one over the crossbar. Would have been a crucial score. It's gone out for a sideline over there, and it's going to be a Middleton. It's going to be a Middleton sideline. 3 minutes at least. Still enough time though for Glen Rovers to come back and rescue the situation.
Absolutely. Any bit of time will rescue any situation, because there's only a goal in it. The most important thing is that Glen don't concede a free here to push it out to 4 points. Keep the ball in play and get it up to Patrick Horgan.
And that's the main man that you need to be getting the ball up to. The shot that's coming from Cormac Walsh, the wing back.
They've had some wides, haven't they?
And that's another wide. Yeah. That's another, and they're all momentum killers, especially when you've got the pinpoint accuracy of Cahill Hickey on a restart. Hickey going down, looking long, looking for Downey. But it's that wall, that defensive Middleton wall. Kiervac Smith, though, blocked down. And a poor ball, and it's gone over the head of Seamus O'Farrell. It's going to be a sideline to Glen Rovers. And it's going to be that big man, Robert Downey, who's going to take this one. And you can imagine who he's going to be targeting in there. 61 minutes gone. 2 minutes remaining. Just to remind you, there is no extra time this afternoon. This game will go to a replay if we are level at the end of the day here this afternoon. Shot off, it's dropping in on top, and it's flicked on. Oh, and it's just couldn't get the connection on it. And it's the cornerback, Sean O'Leary-Hayes, that's clearing up there as far as Cormac Walsh.
Well, it's enthralling, Colm. It's enthralling viewing now because everybody knows the game is still in the melting pot.
Again, very much in the melting pot there, and it's Glen Rovers on the attack yet again. It's bobbling up there. And they're just trying to come back here on numbers with Seamus O'Farrell. He's got a runner outside him. At the second time of asking, the shot from 60-odd yards has gone wide, and that's another poor wide from a Middleton perspective.
They've got 7 wides in the second half, but the last 3 in a row have gone wide.
Aaron Mulcahy was the man responsible for that wide. It's Dean Brosnan going all the way back there to Owen Downey, or to Stephen McDonald, should I say? Excuse me. Stephen McDonald going in towards the corner. Kiervac Smith racing out after it. Had that poor block a few moments ago, but getting it out over the sideline, hitting it off Ben O'Connor's leg down there. 62 minutes gone. There's a goal between the sides.
To be fair to Kiervac, he didn't do great there. In fairness, he cleared his lines, but in general, I think for a young lad, he's had a fantastic game today.
18 years of age,
absolutely brilliant.
Not sure what you were like at 18.
Certainly not in county finals, Colm. He's had a fantastic performance, in fairness to the chap.
Dean Brosnan standing over this, and lads, I want you to be thinking about man of the match. We're going to wait until the final whistle before we pick who it is. Luke O'Farrell is half blocked. Eventually it's Dean Brosnan again. He's going to go all the way back. It's Owen Downey who's going to deliver it in. And yet again, the Middleton defence standing up, and it's their full forward, I think, Cormac Bosang, who's on the run there. Bosang from just outside, 65 yards out. Bosang has driven it and driven it wide.
He should have kept going. He should have kept going. He should have kept going, Colm. But inside the 45-yard line and tapped it over and finish out the game.
Regulation time is up now. It's all at the discretion of the referee. That's Mark Maher, Lorna Barker. Middleton trying desperately to scramble the ball out, trying to get it into the danger zone. Can they rescue something? Down the stretch, Dean Brosnan, he's going to drop it in low. They're all coming out for it. Up they go. There's a big hand in there. There's a shot. It's in. Oh! Just squirreled just wide. Conor Doris. Shawnee had talked about him beforehand. And for a second there, we were just expecting to see the back of the net rippling.
And just the way the play had developed, it ended up a 2-on-1 situation.
And that's it. The final whistle. Middleton are county champions.
Unbelievable finish to the game. Magnificent victory for Middleton, obviously. They carried their form through from the Blackrock game. I suppose you have to say, Colm, you know, the third quarter they really struggled, but the last quarter they were fantastic. The Glen will be really, really disappointed, particularly when the opportunity fell to them with the last puck of the game. But it's just very unlucky. In fairness to the Glen player, pulled in the ball first time and just went to the left-hand side of the post and wide. But it's a brilliant advertisement for hurling. 2 great teams played out a really, really sporting final, and it was well handled by Mark Maher in the middle of the field. No complaints, I think, from either of the 2 teams and the referee. Fantastic outcome.
Okay, Shawnee, we'll have more from you in a few moments' time, but we need to find out who our man of the match is. Your thoughts?
Well, I suppose there's been a couple of contenders. I think, in fairness, Tommy O'Connell was excellent in the backs. I just mentioned him before the end. Kiervac Smith had a fantastic game. For the Glen, obviously, Patrick Horton got scores. You know, Simon Kennefick had a brilliant second half. But look, I just think for his overall contribution in both halves, his frees, his scores from play, his set-up play, I think Conor Lehan was an absolute revelation. And for me, For me, he's man of the match.
Okay, I can see Connor's been swallowed up by the crowd down there. We're going to be going pit side in a few moments' time to Patrick and the rest of the crew there to get a quick word with our man of the match, our Co-op Superstores man of the match in a few moments' time. Incredible scenes here in the Co-op Superstores Cork Premier Senior Hurling Championship, and Middleton are the winners, and Patrick is down pit side, and I can see Ger Cunningham and TJ Ryan as well. So Patrick, if all is okay with you down pit side, let's hand over to you, and all importantly, our man of the match, Conor Nahan.
Man of the match presentation taking place on the field, and a Co-op Superstores man of the match for the senior hurling final is Midlands number 10, Conor Nahan. Liam Ryan, head of agribusiness from Dairygold, presents the prize to Conor Nahan. And Conor, what a successful day and a big day for the Middleton J Club. First title since 2013.
Yeah, look, it's
Worse.
no, it's like I can't even describe the feeling at the moment. Like it's just relief, you know. Sorry.
It obviously means a lot to you to be. Look, it's been such a tough years for you, but this year your season has turned around and you've been a real true leader of the team.
Yeah, like the thing about it, it's not just one leader. Like it's 30 lads, it's the backroom staff. It's absolutely everyone played their part. Like it's never about one. It's about the unit, and I think that was the difference with us. The changes as a team, we just really came together as one. And like this is one award, but it's for everyone. Like it's not. I'm not trying to be cringe or anything, but it's true. Like it's everyone is involved.
You showed true heroic efforts in the quarterfinals and the semi-finals. A real tough, hard performance against a Glen team today, but you pulled it out right at the end.
Yeah, absolutely. So, like, you know, the Glen have just been the most consistent team in the last 10 years in championship. They've been outstanding every year. And like when it comes to fighting, you know, anything can happen. But like the fight in them is unbelievable. And look, it's one of those days where we came out on top, like, you know, and we're just so happy.
Congratulations to Co-op Superstores Premier Senior Hurling Championship Final. Man of the match, Conor Nahan.
Where are you going down?
Patrick and to Conor Nahan for their time down there. Will be joining back for the presentation in a few moments' time. Shawnee, looking out onto that pitch there, what's the thought in your head?
I think, look, for me, I suppose it's disappointing as a kid, and obviously I'm trying to be as neutral as I can, because, look, I'm a hurling fanatic, and I think from a neutral's perspective, if I could wear a cap like that, it was a very, very enjoyable game. The hurling was very, very good, albeit I suppose there were a lot of wides from Middleton that they'd been disappointed with, and if they lost it, they'd been absolutely gutted with all the wides. I think the Glen had no right to be in that game. Middleton were the better side, and the Glen just showed incredible fighting spirit to stay there. Simon Kenneth came in and had a great second half. From a Middleton perspective, I think fellas like Tommy O'Connell, look, they've put themselves in the spotlight for, you know, positions maybe on that Cork senior panel. I thought he was brilliant today. Kieran Smith was absolutely outstanding. Around the middle of the field, Sam Quirk worked away hard without being, you know, terribly, you know, influential. He still worked really, really hard. And when the going got tough and they needed scores, I thought Luke O'Farrell got into the game and Cormac Prezang really came into the game. But just to reference Conor Nahan again, I mean, look, I'm a huge fan. I think his scoring rate for Middleton, he's over 20-odd championship goals. His scoring rate for Cork, you know, when the stats are looked at, he is still a 2-3 point a game player. For me, he's a super player. I love watching him, and I think the award today is richly deserved.
Okay, we're going to be heading over to the presentation area just now, and Mark Sheehan, the chairman of the county board, and the man we just saw a few moments ago, Conor Nahan, our man of the match, also our Middleton captain this afternoon.
Kilmallock contributes 10.
Yeah, but Kilmallock, we drew 10. So that means
Could you get your feet away from the cable, please?
Welcome you to Party Queen, a full Party Queen, well,
he's got
certainly full of energy for this, the Cork County Premier Senior Hurling Final, sponsored by our sponsors, Co-op Superstores. I want to compliment and congratulate both teams for their outstanding performance in this fantastic game in the most significant competition in Cork Club hurling. I want to warmly congratulate Monaghan O'Kern on securing the victory, first time since 2013 in this most prestigious competition, and I know they're absolutely thrilled. To Glen Rovers, I compliment you as ever. You have brought energy and fire to this championship, and I know you were disappointed to come out the wrong side this evening, but I think certainly we will all agree that the afternoon of hurling belonged to Middleton. I want to thank our referee, Mark Maher, for coming Baranefa, and his officials, and indeed all our referees for their sterling work that they have done for us in all our championships, both hurling and football, over the last number of months. I want to acknowledge the sponsorship of our competition sponsors, Co-op Superstores, who are represented by their board chairperson, John O'Gorman, and their chief executive officer, Jim Wolfe, here today. We thank Co-op Superstores for their championship sponsorship and also their man of the match sponsorship. I want to acknowledge particularly our voluntary stewards, both here in Páirc Uí Chaoimh and in Páirc Uí Rinn, who have worked so diligently with our event control team over the past number of weekends. Particularly, we've had a huge volume of matches in both our stadia, and I thank them for their voluntary efforts and their huge contribution to the organisation of the Games. I take this opportunity as well to encourage everybody in the context of the COVID-19 situation to celebrate safely and to have regard for our needs of our society in that regard. Today belongs to Monaghan O'Curran, and I want to warmly again congratulate them. They have a wonderful record in senior hurling in Cork County, and I know that the Sean Murphy Cup will rest very easily and very happily in the great East Cork town of Middleton. So today belongs to Middleton, and I want to congratulate their captain and all their players. And I'd now like to ask their captain, Conor Lehan, to accept the trophy.
I'd just like to say congratulations to Middleton and Lucky Glenmore, and it gives me great pleasure on behalf of the board to present the cup to an outstanding captain, Conor Lehan.
He wasn't supposed to give over the cup.
Yes, Gracie, it's there.
He was very close. Did you take any photographs?
Yeah, it is. See that word come back up there?
First of all, I just want to take the opportunity to acknowledge the backroom staff of the Middleton team. We've got Burr Connor, we've got Brian McCarthy, Michal Cahan, Owen Collins, Pat O'Brien. Look, there's one man I want to especially mention. I think he's the definition of a man you'd want to win a county for. He's one of the greatest clubmen I ever met. I think you all know him. We know him as Donny Gann. I think he deserves a big round of applause. Let's move on to our management team. We got Jennifer Hayes, we've got Stephen Kane, we've got Terence McCarthy, Ian Kennefick, our manager Geoff Fitzgerald, and of course the great Ben O'Connor.
Brian McCarthy as well.
It's easy to say this now, but going through the year, there's not one thing that they didn't help to provide for us throughout the year. They had our backs from day one, even after a tough year last year. We still came forward, they brought them the best that they had, and we can't thank them enough. Just on Ben, I know he's an outside man, but he really dived himself into being a Middleton man, and I think for this year we've accepted him as one. They say never meet your heroes, but that doesn't certainly apply to this man. I'd like to also make a special mention. I know in the last couple of years there's been people, really important people in the club who's passed away, and today would have been an incredibly important day for them, and special day, so I'd like to acknowledge them as well. I do want to pay special attention to the crowd for coming today. I know COVID's been very tough with games, not having a full team and not everyone can go. But seeing a crowd here like today, there's no words that can describe it. I know I'm on my own up here, but I think I speak for everyone in the club and everyone on the team. We couldn't be more thankful for coming up today and having our backs throughout the year. Lastly, I just want to pay special attention to Glenn. Like I say, look, it's easy to say up here now and say hard luck, but it's true thing that the last 10 years you've been the most consistently performing team in the championship. You're always an incredibly tough team to play against. I'd like to say if I was a club man from the Glen, I'd be incredibly proud to have you presenting us. So last year, just want to give 3 cheers to the Glen. Hip hip, hip hip, hip hip. And we see you back in the club.
He really close to me, this is just what he didn't want to fucking do.
See, look what she did down there next to me. Look, watch me, watch. Is he not supposed to take the cup down?
Scenes down there, pitch side, as Middleton celebrate their county senior championship when we'll be heading back down in a few moments' time to join Patrick, TJ and Ger and some special guests there, but glorious scenes. A fair result, Mark?
I think it's probably the popular result.
Sam wasn't included on it, eh?
And they got 3 points without reply to push it from 1 point out to 4 points, and I think that was a key part to winning today. I think in the overall context, even Conor Lehane got man of the match, and he was truly outstanding, I'd have to say, and he spoke fierce well in the interview and on the speech as well. He was outstanding, in fairness to him. But I also thought that the Ross O'Regans, Per White, Sean O'Mara, the 3 of those lads contributed, I think, about 8 points from play between them. And that, to me, was the difference. Even though Conor got the plaudits of being the individual, I think the 3 of them had a huge part to play in Midland winning today. Shawnee referenced it about maybe the 3 lesser names in the Glen team. They wouldn't have scored a whole pile today. But those lads got 8 points. And that, if you were told that before the game, you'd be fancying your chances. I'd have to say, the Glen, Clyne, I think, lost 3 counties in a row. Glen have now lost 3 counties in a row. It must be heartbreaking for them to lose them. But fair play to them. Great credit due to them to keep coming back and keep coming back. And they never gave, even though the Midland probably were very dominant in the first half, the Glen never gave up. And they stayed right in at Cullum. And then they got the opportunities for the equalising goal at the death, which, if it were, like we say in the championship, can it be any more enthralling? But, it probably is a proper result, as it turns out, that Midland have won the game. But the Glen will be really, really disappointed to lose a third final, but to not get the opportunity to go to extra time will probably gall them.
How psychologically difficult is that to come back from 3 finals in a row? And as Mark said, Conor Doris, if he had, and it's no blame whatsoever on Conor, but if he had put that in, we were into a replay, etc. Psychologically, how hard is it to come back from that?
Yeah, I don't think you can. All you do is you adjust yourself down, Colin, when you go again. I mean, the Glen went from 89 to 2015 without winning a county, which is 26 years, and I played in a lot of those years myself, and I never went into a Glen dressing room where we didn't feel we could win a championship game, because the mentors and all the guys involved adore the jersey and they give everything for the cause. So, the Glen will be back and they'll dust themselves down. They were beaten well by Douglas in the first round game. They met the Sunday morning and they had a big meeting for an hour and they sorted a few things out. So that would never worry me, I think. And I don't just say that as a Glen man. I think if it happened to any other club, what can you do? You just have to go back to the drawing board and have another rattle off it. In the game itself, back to Mark's point, Middleton were better and they deserved it. But again, the Glen had no right to be within a whisker of getting a draw there. So that's testament to their effort. And just to go back to the goal chance itself, I don't think there's been a better player, club player in the scene, and particularly out in the Glen, better than Conor Doris. So I would definitely hope that there's no negativity or any aspersions cast on Conor. He's been an absolutely brilliant player for us down through the years. He was desperately unlucky and he'll be back to fight again, no doubt about it.
We mentioned time and time again the Ben O'Connor factor. Just how important was that?
I think it is a significance, and I think it's probably the first time I think that Midland have gone outside the club to get a coach or a stroke manager. A coach, I suppose, is what he is doing, and that was a big decision for Middleton to do that, because they have had fantastic mentors down through the years. Dennis Mulcahy, Sean O'Brien, just to mention a couple that would have went outside to train teams and were very, very successful. And they have a huge tradition, you look at the likes of John Fenton being on the best All-Star team for the last 50 years. magnificent players, and the fact that they went outside was a big thing. And I think certainly the performance in the semi-final and the performance in the final today was brilliant from Middleton, and a lot of that is down to the hard work that Ben has done.
Okay, we'll come back and we'll talk a bit more about that in a few moments' time. Let's go back down pitch side to Patrick Mulcahy. He's got Jim Wolfe, CEO of Dairy Gold, the sponsors of our coverage and sponsors of the championship, and we'll grab him for a quick word now.
Yes, thanks very much indeed, Colin, and Jim does join me beside me. Jim, I was just speaking about the spectacle. The place is covered in black and white magpies.
Absolutely, it's a tremendous occasion, and for the 21st day of November, 3 weeks into November, it's superb, you know, to see all of this. A really joyous occasion for the people of Middleton, and they can be certainly proud of what they've achieved this evening.
How big of a move was it from a Dairy Gold point of view and the Co-op Superstore's point of view? Was it to get involved last year with this championship?
Well, I think there's an awful lot of things going on together. We were investing in our business and we were reshaping, and we had a lot of money put into our brand and our new stores and so on and so forth. And really the championship then was being reformed into what I considered a much better operation on the group format, where every game was important, and this was a real championship, good for both the player, the club and the sponsors, as well as the county board. So there was a lot of newness around it, so there was a very attractive proposition. And of course, look, there's no doubt hurling has gone from strength to strength. We've seen it all through the year. We've seen that group format. Every game counts. You know, today's game, the quality of the movement, the ground conditions, the ball, everything was right. So look, a great affinity between us and the Co-op, which is a very, very much member-centric organisation, and the GA community, which is equally member-centric, club, member, player. You know, there's an awful of what you would call is kind of, you know, similarities in the context of stakeholders.
And speaking of this crowd and this spectacle, what a final we had. Middleton come out on top, and of course one of your biggest stores is in the Middleton town.
Absolutely, yes, of course. Look, silently, of course, you'd like for where we have already a footprint in Middleton, and a very successful trading store. Great support from the people of Middleton and the surrounding area, and you know, this is good. This is good for business. It's good for sport. It's good for hurling. So delighted with the day and the outcome in one sense. You know, commiserations naturally enough to Glen Rovers, but you know, Middleton, on the basis of 24 scores to 19, you'd have to say that they were the better team on the day.
And we should mention finally, it's your last year as CEO of the company.
Yes, that's right, yeah. Almost 43 years completed in the business, and I hand over, pass on the baton at year end to Conor Galvin, and I'm looking forward to the next stage of my career or my life, if you like, you know.
Well, look, we wish you well. Thank you for the sponsorship for the county board and the Irish Examiner. It's a great partnership, and we wish you best in the next chapter.
Absolutely, and thank you to the Examiner. You've been tremendous in the context of the coverage. Tremendous partners in both the Cork GA and the Irish Examiner, and thank you for that. The great work that's being done in getting, I suppose, the sport back into the living rooms of so many people who can't get here, and that's a great credit to Tony Lean and the full team in the Examiner and yourself. So, good
Good, Jim. Let's go back upstairs to Colin.
Okay, thank you very much, Patrick, and indeed our thanks to Jim Wolfe, the outgoing CEO of Dairy Gold and the Co-op Superstores. The sponsorship of the championship has been absolutely fantastic last year, now this year, and of course assisting us as well too with our Irish Examiner live streams. Looking out there, a question, and I'm going to put this one maybe to you, Mark, as the resident East Cork expert. You know, is there a feeling that Middleton and unfulfilled potential go in a same sentence?
Well, I would say they've had a huge amount of underage success, Colin, for a long time, and I think John Fenton referenced in the Examiner there yesterday that when they won in 2013, they would have expected that panel of players would have driven on and would have won more counties. They only got to one county final, and that was in 2018 when the McKilly beat them. So, like, for a big town, they probably would be expecting a lot more success, I think, at senior level. But you know, it just shows that counties aren't one easy column, and you know, no matter how much underage success you still have to bring it through, and there's a lot of hard work goes into bringing underage success, and it's a bit like the Cork team as well. Like, we've had massive underage success with minor under 20s. How long is it going to take for that to come through to the senior team? So it does take time, Colm, and you know, fair play to them. They've won a good championship. They were the outsiders of the 4 at semi-final stage, and they have hurled out of their skins in both matches, the semi-final and the final, and now the whole county will be getting behind them to go into the Munster campaign.
Well, I'm not sure will all the county be getting behind them, Shawnee. In terms of the Glen, what positives can you take from a day like today?
Look, I suppose spirit and fight, one thing. You know, the morale in the camp obviously will be down tonight, but they showed fair spirit and they kept going right to the death. I think Simon Kennefick showed that he has definitely got something. I mean, he's been scoring regularly for the Glen and showed great spirit in that second half to kind of throw the game and take the game to Middleton. I don't know, I think Stephen McDonald was one of the best defenders on viewing for me. I wonder, is there still a Cork place there for him? I mean, he outraced at times Luke O'Farrell and Cormac Bazang and those guys, so he had a great game. Patrick obviously got his scores and was very, very good again. So there was lots of positives, and I suppose, you know, that midfield area, I mean, Paul Hockney was substituted, which was a reflection on how well Dave Noonan played. So there was plenty of positives. Cathal Hickey made a great save there when they needed it from Ross O'Regan. So there are just a couple of names that spring to mind. Look, they'll be disappointed, Colin, no matter what way you dish it up. They'll be very, very disappointed. They came here to win. As Mark said, you know, it's a bitter pill to swallow when you lose 3 in a row. But look, at the end of the day, Middleton were better, and you just have to dust yourself down and accept it.
But just looking through the age profiles there, you mentioned like the likes of Cathal at 33, Stephen at 33, Patrick at 33. Is there a kind of a feeling that these lads can't keep going on forever and ever?
Oh, I would say so, yes, obviously. The age profile isn't probably in their favour, but I mean, you know, we're doing okay underage. We won a minor county this year, and we're in the under-18 competition. So you fellas like, you know, young Stephen Lynham and Owen O'Leary and these guys, they're just names that we know around our club, and hopefully in a couple of years' time they'll be reeled off as noteworthy names when it comes to club championship stuff, when it gets to senior grade stuff. So we've plenty going on at underage. We're working really, really hard to get the next generation through, which every club has to do, Colin, whether you're winning counties or not. You just have to make sure that when the age profile gets to a stage where you get some guys retiring, that the next generation coming up are capable and able. So from that perspective, we're working really, really hard. But you're right, I mean, these fellas are aging a little bit, and it's, you know, Father Time is catching up with them, but they've been incredible servants, and when it comes to back training next February or March, they'll probably be, knowing them all, the first to put their hand up to say, hey, I'm not going anywhere.
Okay, well, we're looking out onto the pitch here. There's still, I was going to say, a few stragglers, more than a few stragglers. Middleton celebrating the county senior title success. It's been, 2013, the last time that they savoured this, and I think everything that's been going on around the world, around the country over the last while with COVID has added to the hope and the expectation of celebrating and enjoying days like this. There's lots of hugs and kisses and everything going on down there. Before we go back down to Patrick, pitch side, the standard in the championship this year, Shawnee, you've seen a good few games. Do you think that the new system is bringing games up and the standard?
I do, and I think in general over the last couple of years, if you think about a column like the Glen won in 15 and 16, then you had your 3 in a row from O'Kelly 17, 18 and 19, you had new winners last year, and now you've got new winners again. So that's sort of, you know, 4 different teams that have been winning the county championship over the last 6 years, which is evidence alone that the standards are even. The standards between teams are very, very close. I think all the grades have been good. The earlier game in the senior A was excellent. You know, it was an excellent Premier intermediate game yesterday between Ballinhassig and Castlelyons. That'll be a great final next week against Corsi, or between them and Corsi Rovers. The winners were Castlelyons yesterday. You know, the lower intermediate game was a good win for Lisgould against Kilbrittain. I saw that as well, and that was an excellent game. And even if you go down further, fair play to Ronan Dewan and what he did with Ballygiblin, and they had a fantastic win as well in the junior championship. So all in all, I think it's been an excellent game. The standard has been really, really good.
Okay, time for us to go back down pitch side and join Patrick Mulcahy.
Yes, and TJ and Joe, we're going to wrap up here from the two bios beside me, and I suppose, Joe, better team on the day, really, 24 scores to 19.
I think there's no argument there, Patrick. I thought they were really good today. Middleton were outstanding from the get-go, really, when the game went in. In the end, I think they probably made it hard for themselves. they had opportunities at the end of the game for scores to just to close the game out really and take the pressure off themselves. And but they left the Glen hanging there, and in the end, you know, they could have paid for it really. The last one that Conor Doris missed, that could have been a replay, but by far they played really well on the day. 24 scores. Top class, I think well deserved, and fair play to them. When the pressure came on, semi-final, final, they've turned it on.
TJ, you're the neutral voice here. The quality of the final first, what kind of standard was it?
I have to say it was very high quality. In the first half, Middleton were exceptional. Some of the scores they got from play were as good as you'd see in any county, to be fair. You'd have to credit to Glen the second half. They came out, they fixed that half-back line, they closed them down, they got themselves back in the game, and as Ger said there, probably maybe were disappointed on the day in the way they played, but they still gave themselves a chance to get a draw, get something out of it. Middleton probably could have tacked on a couple of more scores, but I will say on the day, Middleton deserving winners.
So now they move forward to a Munster semi-final in a fortnight? 3 weeks?
3 weeks against Kilmallock, and it's a Limerick venue. I think it's going to be on the Gaelic grounds. And like, I was at the Limerick County final, Kilmallock were good winners, but like Middleton had nothing to fear. Their forwards are exceptional. I was really, really impressed with that half hour line in the first half. And look, Conor Lahan, he's a high-class forward. On the day, just unmarkable in that first half, 5 points in play, brilliant.
So you've seen both teams now, how do you see it going?
Yeah, 50-50 game. I know sitting on the fence. I said it to Mark already. Look, I suppose the home advantages, and Kilmallock have been there before. Like, I'd probably be just saying maybe Kilmallock. But look, Middleton will have nothing to fear. They're a good side. I was impressed with them today. And as look, maybe the goal chance in the 44th minute, they got tacked on a couple of more scores. They could have ran out impressive winners today. So we've been maybe talking differently about them. So I give them a right chance, Middleton.
In turn, though, Glen themselves will rue a couple of goal opportunities that they did have.
Yeah, they did. You know, they will look back at it, and you know, when you review all the games, you look back to see where the small moments were, what could have been. But I think in the cold light today, when they analyse it, Patrick, I think they will. You know, it's not easy for any team to come to a county final. They would have, you know, probably the last two were in the back of their mind. They couldn't do anything about it. But you know, they wanted to give their best today. They wanted to go down to win and not to lose 3 in a row. But I think, as I said, in the cold light today, they look back to say Middleton were the better team on the day. Thought they played really well. They were hungry. They were lively. Played some great hurling, and I think they were the best. They were the best on the day. I think the best team won. Hard luck to the Glen, but a great county final.
Sure was indeed. There's more reaction that will come, but the two buckles are heading off. The podcast is going to be done for tomorrow morning. We'll catch up with that a little bit later on, I should say, but let's go back up to the commentary box in Cullen.
Okay, thank you very much, Patrick. Yes, I was just going to mention we have a bumper podcast tomorrow.
Yeah.
We'll have plenty to talk about. It'll be interesting to see, has TJ's experience of Cork's Little All-Ireland, has it lived up to all the expectation and all the hype that Mark has produced about it?
Well, I just before I comment on it, before I forget it, our old buddy Dalo is down at the moment, but just to wish him the best of luck. He's just had a little smile. I'd say working too hard over the last couple of days to take a rest, but Dale, I hope you get better soon, and we'll talk to you soon. But yeah, I think the Little All-Ireland was very, very good today now, and as a Corkman, I was delighted with the standard of it. You know, I was delighted with to see the middle and how well they hurled. We knew what the Glen were going to bring. They weren't going to roll over either, and it was fantastic that they came back into the game and certainly probably nearly eked out a draw at the very, very end. But it would have been unfair, I think, on Middleton, because I thought they did most of the hurling for the game. But the standard was good, Colm, and 24 points is big shooting. And the standard of the scenery again was very good as well. So I think overall, I think today has been a fantastic advertisement for Cork hurling. And, you know, we have the template now of a very, very good championship at all grades. And I think all clubs are delighted with the way the championship has been played. And the fact that the split season is coming now as well. We know the club player now is being taken care of. He was a forgotten man for the last 2 decades as far as I was concerned. And the championship in its old format was a killer for clubs. But now the club player is getting all the same rights as the inter-county fella. And I think it's better and better and better. We're getting, and to also add to that, the referees have had a huge part to play in the standards as well. And, you know, they're a bit like the county board. They get a fair bit of stick, like, you know, the referees. But in fairness to them, they have upped their game big time.
Shawnee, we were down pitch side as well too. We had minors and under 20s as well. So you know we've beyond the club game, the county. Admittedly, it didn't end as well as we had hoped in the All Ireland final, but still got to an All Ireland final.
Yeah, absolutely. It was disappointing the way it finished, but we got there, and as you said, the minors and 21s have been outstanding, and there's plenty of them. There was a few on view today, and there's a few more that, you know, will catapult themselves, I'd imagine, into a senior panel next year. Just very quickly to echo what Mark said about Dalo as well. Best of luck, bud, and best wishes. Yeah, and I think what I liked about today, and even in the first game, was because at times in the first game there was a lot of ball being sent into Cantork's full forward line, and Mark O'Keefe stayed where he was. They didn't bring a man back. And again today, both games actually were very traditional. There wasn't too much, you know, well, obviously there's tactics involved, but there's not too much of double tacking or two men marking the one man, which teams have a tendency to do with, like Patrick. Go for broke. Ben put Luke Deneen, you could say an inexperienced player on Patrick, and went for broke. And the Glen kind of did the same in fairness when it was two inside. There was one period in the second half where Middleton had one man inside, and the Glen just left Steve McDonald inside and go toe-to-toe man on man. And for me, I just love that. I love to see fellas going battle on battle. It's like the old style when the national anthem was started. You were inside in the corner, you had your cornerback breathing down your neck, and you knew there was a battle ensuing. So for me, I love the styles, to be honest, that the Glen play, and I love what Ben has brought to the game. He's brought an intensity, the tackling, and he's allowed fellas flourish. Like Mark said earlier, the Ross O'Regans, the Sean O'Maras, who mightn't be getting all the limelight, he allows them to go and express themselves. So as a spectacle, it was excellent. As a kind of type of style, it was brilliant to view. And as you said, Colin, with the players on view today and what's happened with the minor and the under 21 over the last couple of months, you would say the future is, you know, fairly bright for Cork hurling, please God.
Yeah, I could cover with everything that Shawnee said. And the big thing now is that Midland have won the county. They need to go out now into the Munster campaign, and they need to make a statement now as well that we are able to compete, because it has been a problem for a long time that we haven't won a Munster campaign. I think Newtown Chandram, off the top of my head, are probably the last team that have won a Munster, and I think Midland actually are quite capable of, like, their performance has been improving, and if they produce what they produced in the semi-final and the final against whatever opposition they're coming against in Munster, I think they could actually rattle the Munster campaign, to be honest with it. I would give them a great chance now. But again, you know, it's about enjoying the moment tonight. The other thing is the crowd that came out onto the pitch after the game. There was a massive crowd here from Middleton, and you know, that support that you're getting, you know, from your locality is brilliant. And I think the players will get a big boost from that as well, like, you know, because there's a lot of praise being given to those players now. They've got a fair bit of knocking over the last 4 or 5 years that they haven't won a county since 2013 with all the talent that they have. But they've produced it on the biggest day of the year for the club, and I hope that they will make a big statement in Munster now as well.
Okay, I think, Mark, that is where we're going to have to leave it, because we have to keep some stuff for the podcast as well too. You're going to be on duty straight away after the match here, and it'll be going on air across our social channels tomorrow from about lunchtime. Well, what an epic afternoon of championship hurling here in Páirc Uí Chaoimh. The Senior A championship title, it's on its way to Cantork. I'm sure it's there at this stage. The late great Jim Forbes, wonderful to see a cup in his honour, and that's gone the way to Cantork following their victory over Father O'Neill's. And then in the Co-op Superstores Cork Premier Senior Hurling Championship final, it's Middleton, our champions, defeating Glen Rovers. First time since 2013 that the all-important trophy is heading down to Middleton. That is where we're going to have to wrap up this afternoon. I'm being told we have one more. Yes, just getting in my earpiece. I was just about to say our goodbyes, but I can see Patrick Mulcahy is down pitch side. He's got Ben O'Connor alongside him. Let's go down to join the two of them now.
We have to wrap up the show with the main man of the show, and Conor Lahan, I got man of the match, but the coach of the year undoubtedly is the lights in Páirc Uí Chaoimh just drop out. Ben O'Connor. Ben, you've got a big smile after that final victory.
Yeah, Patrick, look, I'm delighted. I suppose we started back training on the 14th of May, and we said, look, the goal was to win the first match in the championship, and we did. We won the second one, we got a bit of a hidey in the third, and we had to get back to brass tacks again after that, and we did, and we've taken a step forward every day we played this year. And we said, look, we want to be in the county final, and we'd see where that would take us. And look, it is mighty we're after winning. And look, We could have been beaten there for a finish or draw right at the end. But I thought overall we probably deserved it with a lot of bad wides there towards the end, and I suppose it could have cost us. But look, I'm just delighted for the boys. I'm delighted for Conor Lehan. I'm delighted for Boozer. I'm delighted for all the fellas that there was questions asked of. I'm delighted that they came up trumps.
You must have hit a setback really with the third round defeat to SARS. How did you regard the troops to get in for the Erin's Own quarter-final win?
Yeah, I suppose we did a bit of practice for that. We played the 20s of last year. We played the Impact in Park Arena. I suppose it was in June, and they gave us a right hockeying, and we thought we were going well at the time, and they gave us a fair hockeying now. So we had to get back to the drawing board after that game. So after being beaten by SARS, we just kind of went back to the same plan as we had after being beaten by the 20s, and we worked on from there. And anything that was asked of the boys, in fairness, they've done it. Even there for the last 2 weeks, like we trained at 5 o'clock to get the extra bit of hurling in the light, and there was no fella missing for training or anything. So like fellas have day jobs to do, and they've a lot on their plate, but they still turned up. So it's just a great credit to them, and a great credit to their families that they were able to get over the line today.
You've had a busy couple of years, a couple of great years with Charleville, 2 fantastic years here with Middleton, and it's not done yet now because you're entering the Munster Championship to face the Limerick champions in Kilmallock.
Yeah, I suppose, look, I'm with Charleville, I had a couple of great years there, and after a couple of mighty years here with Middleton as well. But I suppose the main thing is that you have to have the ingredients, and in both places the ingredients are there, only to put it together. Like I suppose one of the big differences that we probably had this year is we had Jennifer Hayes in with us, a psychologist. Like, and when people see psychologists on the programme, they say, oh, what are these fellas at? Like, but like the way we looked at it, if we could get any extra bit out of fellas, it was worth getting her involved. So we asked her at the start of the year to get involved, and it was a one-off meeting, and as it turned out, fellas were mad for us, so she ended up being part of the backroom setup after that. And I suppose, look, the way I looked at it is that you train physically, you train hurling, so why not train the head? In between the years is all part of it. So Jennifer got involved, and in fairness, she made a fierce difference to us. So look, she's a big part to play in what we've done there today. And as you said, in 3 weeks' time, we've Kilmallock now blowing the Gaelic crowns. We'll enjoy tonight and enjoy tomorrow, but by the weekend we'll be back into the swing of things again. And look, hopefully we're not finished yet.
You were fierce worried when the Glen went down for the last ball. Ball was went wide, and you turned around and leapt in the air as if you won the All-Ireland yourself.
Yeah, look, I suppose, look, my heart was in my mouth when the ball went down at that stage, like, especially after all the wides at this side. The game should have been over at that stage. But lucky enough, it went wide down here, and look, we partly guessed that the referee had to blow it up at that stage. It was 45 seconds over and above. So, look, I was just delighted. It was a blow up of emotion, I suppose, by the time the end of it came, like, because they've so much put into it. And just for the boys, I'm just delighted we've about 35 or 36 on the panel. I was just delighted for every fella involved, all the backroom as well.
Look, congratulations, you've won the championship, and best luck going forward in Munster.
Thanks, Patrick.
That's Ben O'Connor, who we thank you for joining us this evening. We might get Kevin O'Donovan a word with Kevin as well, CEO of Cork GA, who started out the programme earlier this morning, and he's going to finish the programme this afternoon. Kevin, what a day this has been here in Páirc Uí Chaoimh.
It's been a special day. When you think of Steve Collins, to the minors and the 20s, to the Jubilee teams, to the stewards, to the Gardaí, to all our people here, but most importantly to the players. You'd be heartbroken for players that go home today beaten. I'd be thinking of them tonight. It's a long day for everyone else, but they have their lives invested in it. So it's all credit to Middleton and to Cantork. They'll be celebrating for Father O'Neill's in the Glen, already counting down the minutes. We hope we'll have them back next year.
What a difference 12 months has been. Only 200 people here last November, or last October even. It was over 10,000 here today. The atmosphere was electric across the afternoon.
A special day, and look, we've had a great championship, and we've more championships still to play out, and we had that last year as well, but the crowds give it an extra bit of sulphur in the day. There's a extra bite there, but again, it's the players. I'd be so proud of them. I thought the effort from both teams today in the second game, as I missed a lot of the first game running around, but the second game, the effort to the players, they'll be the ones that are crying tonight. They'll be the ones that are celebrating tonight. I think we've got them on track now with a proper county championship format. I think we'll only go from better to better after this. And the football next week, already same again next week. Brilliant games. We'll have our junior final here next weekend. We'll have the Premier Intermediate hurling final the weekend after. We've double finals again. So look, with Cork, with the quality of the clubs, with 250 clubs out there every day, this is just the very end point of all that. We recognise that we come to the party at the end of the show. They do the hard yards night after night. We are arranging up club meetings for next year, players meetings saying, when are we starting training for next year? It is easy for us to roll out the games.
look, Kevin, thanks a million for all your work and all the work that your team are doing. And look, we look forward to seeing you again next week.
Thanks. Onwards and upwards. Thanks.
Back upstairs to Cullum.
Okay, thank you very much to Kevin and to Ben and to Patrick down pitch side for their efforts there. Well, the lights have turned out here, but looking over on the left-hand side there towards the marquee area, all we can see is the twinkling red lights of all the cars as they're leaving the ground. Final word to you, Mark.
Yeah, I suppose just a magnificent weekend of hurling, Colin, for me. I suppose I'd have to mention a huge weekend for East Cork as well, I'd say. Lisgould, Castlemartyr, both having won counties already this year. Both came up a grade and both won their new grades as well. So 2 counties going back to East Cork along with the Midland one. Castlelyons winning yesterday by a point against Ballinhassig. They're in a county final. And Father O'Neill's just coming up short in a cracker earlier on. The last of Declan Dalton probably in the end got to them. But I mean, I just would have to say it was a huge weekend of hurling. And hurling is the big winner for me. And Kevin O'Donovan has quite rightly said exactly what I'm echoing there. We now have the format, we now have the template for the club player. And I think Cork will get stronger and stronger. And as a hurling man, is really, really delighted to be here with the Examiner. Like last year when COVID struck, the Irish Examiner, along with the other sponsors, the Bond Secure and the Co-op Superstores, came on board with the county board and live streamed an awful lot of matches into the living rooms, as Jim Wolfe has mentioned. Brought the hurling back into has brought the I suppose the sport back into the living room with people. So I think that is the big thing. Fair play to the Examiner.
Okay, right, Shawnee, Mark, an absolute pleasure for your efforts and your hard work here this afternoon. TJ Ryan, you might have just spotted there wandering past in the background. He won't be up for any Oscars on the basis of that performance. You know, these Limerick lads, they always want the limelight.
They don't get out too often.
They always want the limelight. And Ger Cunningham as well, to our thanks to him and to Patrick Mulcahy. Well, that is where we're going to have to end our broadcast. An epic broadcast for us here on the Irish Examiner. We've never attempted something of this magnitude before, and I must say huge thanks to Raf and a team of technicians and camera people and everything here who've been working since about 9 o'clock this morning putting this production together. Our huge thanks to everyone involved. Our huge thanks to all of you at home for watching. And our huge thanks as well to our teams this afternoon, and our final congratulations going to Kanturk and to Middleton, the county champions, after an epic afternoon here in Páirc Uí Chaoimh in the Co-op Superstores County Championship Finals. That's where we're going to have to wrap it up. Thanks indeed to everyone at home as well for your company, and hopefully you've enjoyed it as much as we have.